My in-laws hate me. They tried to turn my parents against me.
They're like, parents, we all need to gang up together.
That's exactly what they said. It was Parent Trap, but reversed.
Yeah, reverse Parent Trap. Heads up, everybody. We got a trigger warning here. There's going to be talks of familial abuse and substance abuse, specifically alcohol, and also mentions of self-harm. So if any of those are triggers for you, maybe skip to the next one.
Okay, so I've never posted here before about this, but I feel like it's crazy enough now. LMAO. I, 26-year-old female, am married to an old high school friend, 27-year-old male, and we have one kid. We didn't date very long before eloping. It was like 6 months, but we've known each other for a decade. Okay. And I'd always had a crush on him, and he always thought I was attractive, which is kind of the bare minimum. Yeah. So there wasn't much thought to it, I guess. By the way, this comes from YouKittyKicky19 on the ROK Storytime subreddit. So, well, this is where the trouble started. Hindsight is always 2020. I'm so glad I didn't have a full-blown wedding because of my mother-in-law. Our relationship just deteriorated over time because she's a crazy cig smoker and she's a huge boozer. Like, says she's getting help but hides wine bottles in precarious places. I'd always had bad vibes about my mother-in-law and father-in-law.
Okay, really quick here. I have to say that like substance abuse addiction is like a disease and not necessarily just an outright character fault, which is what it feels like it's being described as.
I appreciate that. Crazy cig smoker and huge boozer, or whatever word that is very judgmental and implies like a lot of narratives. So of course, I got pregnant a few months after we got married. That's where things started to go poorly. She was very curt with me, but very doting on my husband, like a little more than usual. My mother-in-law had my husband before marrying her current husband, but they've been together since 2005 or something. Anyway, so I'm becoming more of a whale as my little baby grows. I told my hubby we needed to talk to her about her drinking and smoking. He was very hesitant to, and I see why now. So we basically put it off as long as possible. This will come up again. We asked her if she wanted to help out planning the baby shower. She said, sure. She's a stay-at-home mom to a 17-year-old and literally doesn't go anywhere because she hates leaving the house. So myself, my mom, and her were all texting, and my mom and I were throwing places around, and she never said anything. So we landed on a place. My mom liked it, and I trust her judgment, so we booked it. My mother-in-law got mad at her and I for booking a place.
Oh, my God.
But she was in the group chat. So we apologized and said, let's meet up for lunch to select the menu. She said no. She didn't want to go to lunch. Finally, we got my husband to come too, so she ended up coming and gave zero input because she only eats chicken tenders and mac and cheese.
All right, that might be the wildest part of that story so far. She only eats chicken tenders and mac and cheese.
I've met people with the diets of 5-year-olds like this.
How do they keep going?
2 people. I don't know. So fast forward to the day, she brought baby photos of my hubby as requested because we were going to put them out. Well, since my mom planned everything down to the dang drinks, she forgot. My mother-in-law got pissed at her. She also got wasted and threw a tantrum because I didn't open her gifts first and left. I didn't know this happened, but my friends told me later. Oh, no. So she left mid-baby shower.
Yeah, just
the baby shower that she was kind of in on planning.
Which is probably for the best from the sound of it. It's like, it's probably for the best that she was not there to continue to have a drunken rampage.
So as my due date is closer, we called her to have a chat. It was a big one because we were also letting her know no one was going to be visiting us in the hospital because I wanted to recover in peace after pushing a watermelon out of me. But my mom was going to be there to support me during labor and the birth, then she would leave. Well, of course, she didn't like that. She said, F you.
Yeah.
And told me Told my husband he has no balls.
Wow.
Dude, she's coming here swinging.
No
She
way.
doesn't not care. She's swinging.
Dude, that's crazy.
She told that to her own son.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense because clearly they're having a baby.
So he and I talked and decided on a compromise. She could come for 15 to 20 minutes and then leave so I could recover. She literally said, F you both again. So I said, fine, bye. At this point, I'm getting pretty angry with her, which makes sense. She's like cursing you out.
That is the point where you tell someone, okay, bye.
Yeah, I will not stand here and take you cursing me out.
Right.
That is the point where a boundary goes down. So one day, we told her we were coming over to chat and clear the air. She didn't let us in the house for an hour, and mind you, it's January. So my pregnant butt is standing outside in the rain because she didn't want to talk. Why are you still there? I mean,
get back in your car.
Go home. Finally, when she lets us in, she's yelling, telling me, who do you think you are? This is between my son and I. You're putting a wedge between my son and I, etc.
There it is. There's the truth right there. She's jealous of the wife because she's taking her son away from her. But really, it's probably your active addiction that's doing it. And again, this is just a really hard situation for them to be in because I don't know if there's anything they can do to really help her.
She also proceeded to tell my husband he has no balls again, and she's cursing and all this. We somehow navigate all this, and we get to the part where we start talking to her about her booze and smoking problem, which reignited the whole situation. I don't think it's a good idea to combine two very large things.
Yeah, that's you're probably asking too much.
So I don't know how I kept my cool, but I did. Honestly, it was crazy. She said she would stop drinking and stop smoking to get ready for the baby. So the time is approaching. I got so stressed out with what was going on. I had an extremely healthy and amazing pregnancy.
Great.
Amazing.
Phenomenal.
But with 3 weeks ago, I developed hypertension from the continuous bullying by my mother-in-law was putting me and my husband through. I was induced and had the baby early, and I blame her entirely for it. So around now, I was really expressing my discomfort of letting our baby around her. But my husband was abused his whole life by them, physically and mentally. Ugh. So he still felt that strong need to get their approval.
Man, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So there's a whole nother dynamic of abuse and deeply craving and desiring approval from your parents, the people who abused you. So I gave in. Let my mother-in-law watch our baby while he and I went to couples therapy every week.
Oh, no, don't do that. That's not a good idea.
I pray that this baby is not receiving any of the same behavior.
You can't do that. That's not a good idea. I do not agree with that.
As time went on, things were okay, but I was still hurt by what happened when I was pregnant, but my husband started to truly see what was going on. That's when the admissions came out about his abuse and how traumatic his childhood was. That's when we decided to take a break from his family so we could focus on us. Of course, that didn't go over well. My husband didn't say much about how the conversation went, but I could tell he was getting sick of her. But I do know my mother-in-law said after a long, angry rant, I hope you're happy with her. Like, you're breaking up with him? What?
Right, like where it's like she's acting like she's a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Or like she's acting like a jealous lover where it's like, you're still going to be my mom. I'm just married now.
Well, it seems like the mom is like, if you still want to be with her, I'm out. I hope you're happy with your decision. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
I would think he'd be happier, probably.
Probably. We passed that time in peace, and my husband and I become stronger than ever.
Yes.
Amazing. We were on the brink of divorce over all of this because he just felt a strong pull to get their approval, and I was dead set against our baby being around them.
Yes.
He finally saw why I felt this way, and we worked on us. This is great. This is great. He started his own trauma therapy. Amazing.
Yes.
And he's truly healing for the first time. Let's freaking go.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
Shout out Healing Journey. Somewhere in there, we were told that my mother-in-law tried to end her life herself, but apparently that was a lie. Just psychological warfare.
Yeah, this person just needs like a lot of help psychologically and
I hope she could get the same trauma therapy her son's getting.
Yeah, that would probably be extremely beneficial.
Yeah. So Thanksgiving in America, LOL, is fast approaching and my mother-in-law asked if we're coming. I told Hubs, I didn't want to, and he respected me on that, so he told his mom no. And I was so happy, LOL. But it didn't go over well. She called me
Yes, the see you next Tuesday.
see you next Tuesday 3 times on text, and then said, let me refresh your memories on what happened, displaying her grade A narcissism. She truly believes she hasn't done a single thing wrong and refuses to apologize about anything. Well, Thanksgiving comes and goes. My husband went over, and of course, she started talking crap about me again. And he told her that's exactly why she doesn't see her grandbaby anymore, because he won't tolerate disrespect for his wife. Go, babe.
Yes, exactly.
Dude, he's finally standing
Hi.
up for his wife. She called to say my husband and our baby is welcome for Christmas, but I am not. He said that he would be stopping by at Christmas. If she asked if our kid was coming, he said no. So she said in all her amazing motherness that her own son cannot come over for Christmas. I'm shocked that he was going to come over for Christmas anyway.
Well, he's got like deep seated. He's got his own trauma.
Yeah.
He's got his own like learned behaviors.
And deep desires for their approval.
This person has put deep hooks into this person.
Yeah. And that hurt his feelings so bad. And I'm just sitting here not surprised at all, but comforting him. Well, a couple of days ago, my father-in-law went to my dad's office to ask him to intervene because my mother-in-law is crying more than when her own brother took his own life. My dad told him he'd chat with us, and we both said, heck no, we're not talking to them until some apologies are made. So my dad will be telling my in-laws to leave him out of it. This is an ongoing situation. I'll be back for updates as I can give them. Thanks for reading if you made it this far. Update. You have anything to say?
I do not. I think let's just get right into the update.
Let's just send it. All right. I'm back with more. Thanks for coming on this journey with me. I sat down with my dad today and talked about what happened this week. He told me his opinion on the matter that my in-laws are so messed up and they will most likely never change. They will never see us as adults as well as parents making adult and parent decisions. They will always see their son as a child and me the C word who poisons him. Lovely, right? He told my mother-in-law and father-in-law that he wanted nothing to do with the situation as he supports our decision. He does slightly disagree with me that we should go over for Christmas just to make my husband happy, which I'm not sure how I feel about it because to me, the holidays are out of the question as well as our baby's first birthday in a few months. But I do want to know what y'all think because I kind of know my husband won't go no contact with his family at this point, no matter what, unfortunately. Here's the juicy part. On the phone call, my dad asked if he could share his opinion with my in-laws, and they said yes.
Oh, okay.
Some cross-parent pollination crap talk
Yeah, here we go.
Okay. So my dad said that they have to respect our decision no matter what, if they agree with them or not. And my mother-in-law said that my hubs needs to not be a P word. And my father-in-law said he needs to grow a pair.
Wow.
Dude, they're quick with it.
Everybody's just like dunking on OP's husband.
Yeah, they're just like, freak him.
Yeah, they are not getting behind this guy one bit.
No. So there's that. I told my hubs and he went at it with my in-laws. And I guess they came to a resolution. My mother-in-law will be coming tomorrow to apologize. Allegedly, I will come back tomorrow to let you know how this goes. Once again, I'm being told I need to make my husband happy. I can tell that this does hurt him, that we're in this position with his family. I do see how my in-laws feel disrespected from us setting boundaries, but my husband doesn't recognize that's a them problem and not an us problem. Everyone asks me, well, what's the big deal if you have supervised visits with your in-laws? It's not going to hurt. And to me, it does hurt. It hurts the baby, even though they can't understand words through feelings. Babies can feel everything, especially whoever has bad vibes and what hurts me. I don't want my baby to know a life of these people, specifically grandparents that do and will speak poorly of their parents. It doesn't sit well with me, especially with all the damage it's done to my husband's life. Tell me I'm not wrong for feeling like I have to protect my baby from them. I'm being told a handful of times each year we should do supervised visits. But my in-laws are known when you give an inch, they take a mile. And Hubs and my parents say if they mess up again, that's it. But they've all said that every time something has happened. And I'm not willing for there to be a mess up that messes with my child's life. What do I do? See y'all tomorrow from this alleged apology phone called my mother-in-law. Update
So,
number 2.
Here's my advice. Move. Get away from these people. It's time to not be anywhere near these people who like so deeply scarred your husband. And yeah, you don't want them putting any hooks into your child.
I think it's so fair that you don't want your child to be around the people that physically and emotionally abuse your husband and still verbally abuse you.
100%.
On repeat. They have shown you that they will continue to verbally abuse you, and it makes so much sense that you want to protect your child from these people. Update number 2. Welp, my mother-in-law texted me she wanted to meet it up. I said, could we do a phone call? For 2 reasons. It's the holidays and I'm busy AF. The days my husband is off while he watches our kid. I don't even have time for people I want to see. Number 2, I'm more comfortable with a phone call because if things get too heated, a quick exit is just hanging up. She didn't like that and told my husband it's not going to work because she's not going to have it her way. Hubby and I had therapy today and I love our therapist. She basically said to my hubs, you need to cut the umbilical cord and evolve your relationship from childhood to adult. But the problem is, my in-laws will always see my hubs as a child with, quote, no balls. So no contact temporarily will be best. Hubs called his mom to talk and asked if we could all have a phone call to clear the air.
It's time to move on. It's time to move on.
Cut the cord. So it basically turned into my mother-in-law crapping on me yet again, calling me a liar and a manipulator, and that my hubs is turning into that, and that she wants nothing to do with me, and my father-in-law is so enraged with me that he wants nothing to do with me either. So my husband said, fine, I want nothing to do with you guys. And that's how we left it. I recorded most of the conversation. LOL. Did you think it was going to go any other way?
I mean, no. I didn't expect maybe the father. I mean, the father-in-law has been kind of absent from the story, but I'm sure
he's been in the shadows, like pulling some crap too.
In terms of, I think the mother-in-law has just been overshadowing his presence. But yeah, clearly 2 toxic parent figures that
are
OP's OP's husband is just been held down by. So yeah, cut the weights, and it's way easier to say that than to do it. But that's the right avenue from the looks of it to me. And also from our perspective,
if you want to join us live on YouTube and Facebook every weekday at 3 p.m. PST, we're probably live right now. You just have to tap our profile.
Yeah, tap our profile. Go check right after this because we're about to finish this story.
Let's go. All right. So we made one last ditch effort and offered family counseling. Usually the stories go where like one thing happens and people are like, no contact. And I'm like, guys, like chill, like communicate. There's so many steps before no contact. This is like the opposite. They're like, we will like grab this relationship to the ends of the earth before we go no contact.
The 9th time they've tried this.
Yeah. Okay. So the 4 of us sit down with a counselor and resolve this. We doubt my father-in-law will be willing at all, but so far, mother-in-law is allegedly on board, even though she called me a liar not even 30 minutes ago. I'll leave it here. It seems we're going no contact. Finally. Most likely.
Well, almost.
Thanks for coming along. Cheers to toxic in-laws. Am I right?
And
that's the end.
Was the end of that story. And I hope it is... I can already tell you exactly what happened.
Tell
they
us.
Did not go to therapy.
Okay.
Because the mother-in-law probably had flew into a rage about something.
And told the husband he has no balls.
You don't have to grow with these people. They can go to therapy and address their issues separate from you and your husband. And then once they've done the work that they need to want to do in the first place, then y'all can reestablish a relationship. But it's not going to get anywhere with all of you intact because clearly it's like she's got no respect for either of you.
Yeah. Like
and
0 respect.
There's a lot of history there too with the abuse and the trauma from the husband. So
there's so much like deep rooted things packed into this.
Yes.
And the likelihood of that shifting is very low. I think it's sweet and courageous that you guys have attempted so much, but at this point it seems like you've already made the choice to go no contact, which is great. I'm glad that you could protect your family.
Yes.
My in-laws insulted my husband, so I confronted them.
Do it. Confront them.
Context: my 36 female husband, 36 male, comes from a family of athletes. They put him in boxing as a kid. He was talented, but he suffered a lot from pressure from his family. They wanted him to become a professional, but my husband never wanted that. I feel like we're about to get into a movie here.
Sounds like the origin story. We're getting flashbacks right now.
By the way, this comes from Frosty Nectar 26 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. In high school, things got worse for him as the school coaches were brutal, and the attention he received from promoters and outside coaches led to his family to put more pressure on him. The relationship with his family went south, not like the Paul. Then he informed them that he was going to a university and giving up boxing for good. Not true, the boxing part. I met him a month before we started high school, and we've been together since. When he was 30, his family contacted him to try to fix their relationship. Their relationship is decent. The same with me. Now, we took our children on Sunday to visit them. Sister-in-law and her husband were talking about one of my nephews learning to play the piano and that he is good for his age. Then mother-in-law said, quote, "Be careful. You don't want to encourage him only for him to quit and ruin his life as husband name." Yeah. You don't want him to get super excited and get really talented at being a pianist and then him just giving it all up. Be careful. That could happen.
I guess, but that you gotta at least do something. You know what I mean? That just sounds like, don't try anything because you might quit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's quitting before you even start.
She got a little jab in there. I'm starting to see a little fight about to happen here. It seemed like mother-in-law forgot I was there and they went silent. My husband was out buying some things with his father and his two brother-in-laws. I was calm and asked her how he ruined his life. His sister got involved and said that that's not what mother-in-law meant and I wouldn't understand. I replied, "No, I don't understand why you wanted to live through him, why you never listened to him, why you never accepted what he wanted, and why you never let him be, and why you think he ruined his life. I don't get it. If you think it's because I don't know how talented he was, you're wrong, because I was there. Even when you abandoned him, it wasn't for nothing that he got 2 scholarships and people were after him. I'd understand if he didn't do anything with his life, but that's not the case. He has a degree, an amazing career, built 2 different businesses, is a great father and husband. He's more successful than all of you combined. Please, tell me how he ruined his life or what part I don't understand." I got silent.
That's right. Get him, OP. Get her.
Mother-in-law went, and then OP went.
Boom. Yeah. Knocked out.
I took our children and left. I texted my husband that I was going home. He arrived shortly after and told him what happened. He's not mad. To be honest, this is the first time I heard this type of comment, and I pretty much blew the relationship he has with his family, and apparently also caused issues with his sister's husband because they had a different version of why my husband was estranged. It seems like this is the first time they tried to rekindle the relationship, and she just blew it right up.
Dang. Not the way to do it. Not the way to do it.
Update, though.
Update. We got an update.
I never expected this much attention. Sorry, blah, 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 blah. I want to give you a small update. First of all, thank you for all of the kind words and the awards. I reacted on instinct and kind of regretted it, but my husband reassured me that it was fine. He would have done the same thing for me, which I know. He's all smiles every time I see him. I'm sorry for those who went through the same thing. I'm glad you left that horrible situation and that you are doing what you want. Good job. I should have been clearer. Mother-in-law says he ruined his life because he wasted the chance to be recognized and famous, something they always longed for and couldn't achieve on their own. My husband stopped competing once he finished university and not after high school. He had to do it so he could maintain his scholarship. The children weren't present when I exploded. They were outside playing. His sister lied to their husband about the reason why my husband was estranged. They put the blame entirely on him and downplayed what they did.
Dang.
Someone linked a story about a couple who is dealing with the after trauma and that it's heartbreaking. Injuries and trauma are 2 of the main reasons my husband never wanted to make boxing his career. Fortunately, he received minimal damage and sees a specialist once a year to make sure everything is fine. My husband says that over the years he felt something was off. He's not surprised they haven't changed their opinion of him and that they were just faking it to gain access to our kids. I totally forgot about that. That's what happens a lot of the times.
Yeah.
They like get rid of a kid and it's like, oh, you got grandbabies.
Right. Right. Dang. That's crazy. That is hard though with the like boxing thing. Cause like, have you seen those videos where it's like, you see like MMA fighters like at the beginning of their career and then like later in their career and they're like
Not doing well at all.
not putting full sentences together. They are not pronouncing their words right. Things like that. So that makes absolute sense that you would not want that as your career. That's not just giving up, you know, that's like your
saving
safety.
yourself. They don't seem to get it. Update 2. Early today, we dropped the kids off at school. His sister's husband was there and wanted to hear my husband's version. We went to breakfast and he told them everything. From their reaction, it was clear that their wives still downplaying the whole thing. According to one of them, his wife is starting to display the same traits as mother-in-law. So yeah.
Interesting.
We agreed to talk on Saturday to plan how we are going to move forward with our children. They go at the same school and they are very close. We don't want to disrupt their relationship. As for his parents, we are going to talk to them on Saturday and let them know how their relationship with our children and with us is going to be from now on. Thanks for you all again. And we got another update.
Another update. Let's see it.
During the week, we talked to our kids and asked them, without being obvious, how they have been treated by their grandparents. We got positive responses. They've been treated well, to be clear. We talked to everyone on Sunday without the kids and asked, and my husband was the one who did the talking first. First, it was to his parents. They tried to apologize, but my husband cut them short. He said, we weren't here for their apologies or explanations, but to talk about their new relationship with us. He told them that we are no longer going to take the kids to their house anymore. They will have 2 visits per month and will be supervised by us. They will be the ones who plan the activities, and they will have to inform us with enough time so that we can approve them. The only time they will see the kids besides their 2 times is for birthdays and holidays, to keep their opinions of him or me to themselves, as the moment they run their mouths with our kids present, it will be the last time they will see them. And for us, we will be civil, but that's it. Is that too harsh?
No, I don't think so.
They agreed, and before we left, they told us they were separating, to which my husband replied that he doesn't care. The visits and rules are the same regardless of their marital situation. We could split the visits to 1 each, or they could have 2 together. But that's up to them. The visitations will begin after their situation is resolved. That's so weird. Like, oh, by the way, we're getting separated. Try to figure it out. I feel like they were trying to manipulate it a little bit.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Later that day, we visit his sisters and their husbands, all gathered in one house. Pretty much did the same drill, but he listened to his sister. His sisters apologized and told us they were going to therapy again. They asked my husband if he was willing to go with them at some point, but he refused. He told them that their relationship is way too broken to mend, and he harbors no ill feelings towards them, and the only thing he will give them is common decency. That is good that they are going back to therapy again, and hopes they will take it seriously now because their kids and husbands deserve better. And you deserve better. To join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. Where, Angie?
On YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok. Are we even on Twitch?
We're on Twitch.
We're on Twitch.
Every weekday at 3 p.m. PST.
That's right.
With that being said, he proposed that things will continue more or less the same. We take our kids to their house or they bring theirs to ours. But the expectations of visits from his parents, we explained to them to deal with my in-laws, that my sisters and parents are willing to maintain the same relationship with the kids, but not so much with them. Any comment from them like the one his mother did, and everything will stop. If they have another plan, we could work it out. They all agreed with our plan. For now, everyone is looking to keep things civil for the kids, which I think is a good thing. Anyways, my husband and I draw lines, and we make sure they don't cross them. That's the end of that story. I like that. It's good that they nipped it in the bud and didn't let this continue. Because that would have been so sad if they got back into this family and they just kept like berating him.
Right. I'm glad that they like set some boundaries, made some decisions that will, make things better from now on.
Yep.
They seem to just be handling it well. And I'm glad we've seen so many stories like that today.
Yeah.
People handling it well.
I feel like the grandparents still got a little trick up their sleeve.
Yeah, they got something
They're
hiding.
going to do
But that's the end of that story,
Yep.
right? So we'll see you for the next one. My in-laws tried to sabotage our wedding, but we got the last laugh.
That was it. That was the last one. No.
My husband and I are celebrating our 5-year anniversary next month. So I thought for S&G, I'd share what went down at the wedding. My husband and I both have very dramatic families. Because of this, I was very skeptical about having a traditional wedding. By the way, this comes from Ecstatic Intern 1633. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So we settled on getting eloped without telling anyone. And then holding a small wedding about a month after we returned from our vacation, our elopement trip plus honeymoon. It was very short notice, but we wanted it to be just immediate family and close friends, so it wasn't a big deal. When we invited his mother, she was rather upset because they have a lot of family, and we weren't inviting the bulk of them. Just my husband's brothers, their wives and kids, and a couple of his cousins. My husband explained to her that it wasn't a big event held in our backyard and that he only wanted those most important to him to be there. That pissed her off even more because she took it as him saying the rest of the family wasn't important to him. She told him that if that was the case, then she might not come at all. He told her he hoped she'd reconsider, but that it was her prerogative, and we left. Over the course of the month, she would call him frequently and ask if various people could be invited. Family members, family friends, and at one point, random people from her church. Neither of us are religious. He told her no on most accounts, including both of his uncles, one of his aunts, and her pastor. She called me once or twice to ask about wedding arrangements, if she needed to bring anything, and asked if I wanted to go with her and both sister-in-laws to get dresses for the wedding. I told her most of the plans and went with them to pick dresses, mostly because I was terrified one of them would pick something white. Shopping was very tame. They were cordial at least, which is saying something for 3 women who all hate each other and me. Nobody picked out anything inappropriate. The only weird thing was that all 3 women adamantly complained that they never got a real wedding. And when I was asked to show them a picture of my dress, they gave half-hearted compliments. I asked my younger sister and my best friend to be my bridesmaids. My husband asked one of his brothers and his best friend, and we had 2 of my nieces and one of his as flower girls. Once I started setting plans in motion, that's when mother-in-law and one of my sister-in-laws started acting weird. Sister-in-law apparently threw a fit that her husband and daughter were asked to be in the wedding, and she wasn't. Brother-in-law wound up asking me if I'd consider adding her as a bridesmaid, and I said no. He didn't blame me, but it did cause him and their daughter to almost drop from the wedding completely. A few days later, however, she dropped in. My grandma, who I am no contact with, dropped by our house to tell me that she was told about the wedding and that I was pregnant. Since she couldn't get in touch with me, she wanted to ask if she could come. I have no idea how she got our address. I told her I wasn't pregnant. There was no wedding, and not to come by my house unannounced again, or I'd call the cops.
Don't call me.
Don't call me. Don't come by my house. She left. Every time we went to my mother-in-law, she would ask me to bring my dress next time so she could see it. I would forget on purpose because I had a gut feeling she was planning something. She continually asked me about the plans for the wedding, but I figured she was just excited and wanted to be involved, so I told her if she wanted, she could cook some of the food. She accepted. She asked if I wanted her to make the cake, but I told her no because my sister, who's a great baker, had already offered. She told me what she was going to make, and my mother made the rest. I DIY'd pretty much everything myself with some help from my sister and best friend. We rented tables and chairs. I planned to put all the food in the kitchen, which has French doors going to our patio, and the backyard where I planned for the ceremony and reception to be. I wanted as few people in the house as possible since we have pets, including big dogs, and I knew they would go absolutely nuts at a house full of people. The night before the big day, mother-in-law came over to bring what she had cooked. She asked to see what my mom had cooked and the cake my sister made, which she said was gorgeous. She asked me to try my dress on for her, and before I could disagree, my husband stepped in to tell her we had a big day tomorrow and he thought that he and I should get some rest.
Nice. W.
Good job. The morning of the big day, my sister and bestie came early to help me get everything else ready. An hour or so later, brother-in-law showed up with his daughter, saying sister-in-law would come later. Mother-in-law showed up right after in regular clothes and without my husband's little brother. When I asked her, she said she was going to go back home to change and pick him up and then come back so that she could help set up. Her version of helping was telling my sister and bestie where to put stuff, then moving it around if she didn't like it. I let it go and told them to do the same. About an hour before the ceremony was supposed to start, people started showing up and mother-in-law ran home to change. I started socializing and was immediately weirded out because people kept mentioning babies, and pregnancy. Then I remembered my grandma mentioned it as well. My husband's cousin asked if I had any symptoms yet, and when I asked her what she was talking about, she said sister-in-law had told people I was pregnant, and that was why we were getting married on such short notice.
Not pregnant. Why is this person lying?
Not pregnant.
Why?
Not pregnant. I told her that was a lie and that I'd appreciate it if she told anyone else who mentioned it the same thing. She wasn't surprised, though, because the whole family knows how sister-in-law is. About 20 minutes before the ceremony, I left my bestie to oversee everything downstairs while my sister and mom helped me change into my dress. All of a sudden, my bestie ran up to announce that my husband's ex-wife was there, apparently invited by sister-in-law.
Dude, what is his sister doing?
Why did the ex-wife come?
Sister just wants to marry her own brother.
Bestie found my husband, brought him upstairs, and I told him to please ask her to leave. My husband and his brother handled the situation, and she left. Then his brother pulled sister-in-law aside to cuss her out for bringing the ex. I finished getting ready and came back downstairs. At this point, everyone was in the backyard except the bridal party. I was then told that mother-in-law hadn't come back yet, and it was pretty much ceremony time already, so we started without her. She arrived right before I was supposed to walk down the aisle in, you guessed it, a white dress, which had an eerily similar design to mine.
So let's kick
Who's
her
shocked
out. Let's kick her
by-
out.
Instead of coming inside and going to the back where I could have seen her, she sneaked around and went through my fence gate, walking straight down the aisle in the middle of the procession. I tried not to freak out on her right then and there and gracefully walked down the aisle. She wasn't done though, because before we could start, mother-in-law stood up and insisted on making an acknowledgement for my husband's deceased aunt, followed by a moment of prayer. We continued on, did our vows, and towards the end, sister-in-law very loudly said, "Isn't there a part where we get to object?" To which I yelled back, "No!"
Where's anyone else?
Yeah, why isn't anyone tackling her to the ground?
Somebody needs to do something.
Somebody needs to do something!
She cannot be allowed to get away with this
No.
behavior.
We almost finished when sister-in-law decided to stand and say, "You shouldn't marry her, she's awful." To which my husband responded, "We're already married," and sealed it with a kiss. After the ceremony, I went to change into something else. If this lady is still here,
Dude.
I'm going to be shocked.
Hey, just because you wore a white dress to our wedding doesn't mean you're the one getting married, loser.
Loser. By the time I came back down, my husband's brother, sister-in-law, and their daughter had already left. Mother-in-law was berating my husband for getting eloped without telling anyone. What sister-in-law said is all anyone was talking about, but my husband managed to calm me down and we went on a smoke break. I thought at least nothing else could go wrong, but I was mistaken. When we came back to the backyard, mother-in-law had already started letting people inside to eat, including our cake. Why are people dumb?
Who are these people?
Have they never been to a wedding before?
Slither back
You dumb idiots.
into the primordial ooze.
My sister started crying because we didn't get to take pictures. I calmed down my sister while my husband talked to his mom. Then his uncle showed up uninvited. Mother-in-law claimed she thought they only weren't invited to the ceremony. And my husband's cousin asked them to leave, and they did. Just as they were leaving, my grandmother showed up and began crying, insulting me because I lied to her about the wedding. She said I didn't want her there, that I don't love her, and that I'm ungrateful. My mother walked her out after I told her I'd call the cops if she didn't leave. After that, I turned the music up and my husband and I ate, drank, and danced and ignored everyone else. My niece accidentally spilled juice on mother-in-law's dress. Very clever, since you can't really be mad at a 4-year-old.
Shout out. Shout out the
Shout out that
4-year-old.
freaking
Let's
4-year-old.
go.
Mother-in-law asked to go inside and borrow something to change into. My husband said, "Why don't you go home?" The night ended with me and my husband happy, full, and wasted since the party thinned out significantly. We wanted to take advantage of all the food and drinks. My sister and mom were the last people there. We played cards together until we started to pass out at the table. They spent the night and we went to bed. By the way, you can spend the night with us if you listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search for Podcast Start Time.
Spend the night with us and we'll be all up in those ears.
All up in those ears.
All up.
White. I'm still so happy we got eloped on a beautiful vacation and that the story of our marriage doesn't start with this wild wedding. If it had, I would have absolutely lost it at several points. Instead, I can look back and laugh at the fake wedding party we decided to have to make everyone else happy and how much they hated it anyway. In case you're wondering, we're very low contact with mother-in-law and sister-in-law, as much as we can be, with my husband still being able to see his niece and brother. We live across the country from them now, so it's not nearly as big as a deal as it was. Thanks for sticking around. I know this was a long one. And
And that is the end of that story. That's a freaking wrap.
Wash your hands of
Wash
these
your hands of
individuals.
this business.
Wash your hands. They're getting their primordial ooze all over.
They'll
your
get
hands
what's coming to them.
because they're creatures. So don't let these creatures, and I feel like you're already
Preach
aware
all
of this.
over you.
Which is why you did the eloping and why you had the fake wedding.
Definitely.
Really the second wedding.
Exactly. That's what you
You
do.
know.
That's what you gotta do.
Don't let the
man.
ooze back into your life.
Yeah. But that
Right.
is the end of that story.
My conservative in-laws despise me for my beliefs. I don't want to celebrate Christmas with them.
Don't.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't sound like there's going to be a lot of Christmas cheer. Backstory. I am an agnostic Wiccan, and my husband is agnostic. His family is super conservative, traditional Christian. They have never liked me, and they say things behind my back, but they are kind of weird in that they're fake nice to my face and are always so fake. By the way, this comes from user Ready for Halloween, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. The entire family is incapable of an adult, honest conversation. They ignore anything unpleasant. If anyone brings up something controversial or unpleasant that could possibly start an argument, the entire family shuts down and immediately changes the subject and pretends nothing ever happened. This also means my husband has a very difficult time confronting or talking to them. So here are a few of the things that they do and say to and about me, not including the normal annoying in-law things like general condescension. Mother-in-law is bad for that. They warned my husband about dating me because I'm a witch. They called me a devil worshiper. They refused to attend a dinner we invited them to around Halloween, even though it was important to me. And I not only attend all their holiday dinners, even though I don't celebrate their holidays, but I even attended a church service one Christmas Eve because it was their family tradition, and I wanted us to all do family stuff together. Not only did they refuse to attend, they acted as though it was disrespectful and rude of me to ask them to come, and made rude comments about my religion. Then, after we invited them, his mother called around the whole family to tell everyone that I am a witch. Mother-in-law tries to convince us not to have children. It is very widely accepted by myself, my husband, and my brother and sister-in-law that this is because she doesn't want me raising heathen witch children. We plan to adopt children, and his grandmother has stated that adoption is selfish. They regularly declare that we are disrespectful of them for any number of things, including living together before marriage, living in sin, adopting children instead of passing on their family genetics, sleeping in a cabin together when we all went camping. Basically, they feel we are disrespecting them for living our lives in any way other than how they tell us to. That Christmas, my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law's ex-girlfriend and I all got the same generic gift. Yes, they gave us 2 wives the same gift as the ex-girlfriend. Not a big deal, but it shows how they don't care any more about us than their grandson's ex-girlfriend. When my husband confronted them about the way they treat me, they just brush it off as she's being sensitive and we don't do anything wrong. Now, to this Christmas, we bought our first home, something I'm incredibly proud of, as I bought it at 25, which was my life's goal. I love having parties and dinners and entertaining and hosting. This was finally my time to have a family holiday in my very own house. My parents are so excited to come over, and my mom has no problem giving me this holiday because it's so important to me. Already months ago, my husband mentioned to his grandma, who always has Christmas at their house, that we wanted to host Christmas this year, to make dinner and have gifts and everything and make our new house truly a home. His grandma basically brushed them off and ignored him and said, "We'll see." Well, the other day, my husband's grandma mass texted the family saying that this was the family's year to have Christmas Day. They alternate Christmas Day between the family Christmas and in-law Christmas, even though they switch all the time anyway, and everyone be at the grandparents' house at this time, blah, 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 blah. So my husband texts her and says, "So we wanted to host Christmas this year, remember?" Now, while hosting Christmas is very important to me personally, I may have been able to bite the bullet as usual with his family and give in if they had some excuse at least for why it should be at their house. But instead of taking my feelings at all into account, or even giving us any chance, or even giving us reasons why it makes more sense to do it there, she texted back, "If you don't want to come, then that's fine." I find this beyond disrespectful, not just to me, but to their grandson. It's rude and hurtful that they can't entertain the idea of letting us host their precious dinner, especially when the grandma broke both her arms a couple years ago, and the family was ready to just give up having Easter. I stepped in and cooked an entire Easter dinner for like 17 people. But more so, that they could care so little about our feelings that they would rather us just not be a part of Christmas than to talk to us about it like adults and think about our feelings. My husband tries, but they brush off everything he says, and like I said, they ignore confrontation. He has a difficult time with confrontation himself because of how they brought him up. Fair enough. I think no contact. That's how we go moving forward. Who cares if you're at Christmas? These people
Yeah. I'd have a better Christmas without them, honestly.
truly, honestly, not that I want him to cut them out or anything, but if my family treated him the way they treat me, I wouldn't talk to them anymore. I'm debating what I want to do about Christmas now. I'm having Christmas at our house for my family and close friends, but I really, really don't want to go to his family's Christmases. I'm uncomfortable around his family in the first place, and after this rudeness, I feel like walking in there would just be admitting defeat, and I would be really unhappy being around people that don't care about me. But my husband's favorite part of Christmas is the family time. All I want is for him to have a great holiday, his favorite holiday. But I also can't turn myself into the daughter-in-law that gets treated like crap by her new family. That's not who I am. I don't know what to do, and there is an update. Honestly, I think your husband sounds like your husband sounds like he's been brainwashed into
Well,
thinking that that's what he enjoys.
I think he has this idea that family is very important, and because he's been raised in that culture where they're saying like family above all else unless you don't fall into line.
Yeah.
And I think you would need to have a conversation with him and say, I understand that you want to be around your family, but I feel like every time that we do go around them, I am incredibly disrespected and villainized for what I believe and what I practice. And I can't do that. If you want to do it, that is your choice, but I won't be able to join you.
So my husband talked to his family today. I honestly, not proudly, really just expected it to go badly and not have to see them anymore. It did, however, go apparently really well.
Oh.
He talked to his grandma, grandpa, and mom. Now, his grandpa is nice. He still is a very traditional person, does look down on a lot of our choices, like premarital cohabitation. But in the long run, he's the nicest and the only one I could actually possibly believe might like me. His grandpa had no idea what was going on or that anything ever transpired. The grandma and mom keep him in the dark because he is the moral paragon of the family, and if he had known the things his wife and daughter had been doing, he probably would have scolded them and made things right. During this talk, my husband brought up many of the issues and all the things that they have said or done that make me feel unwelcome in the family. He told them how it has affected me and himself, how disrespected we feel, and that their comment about Christmas was unacceptable. They agreed that what Grandma texted was uncalled for, and apparently the entire family, obviously excluding us, which involved the grandparents, aunts, uncles, and mother-in-law, had a big talk about Christmas. They discussed why they wouldn't want to have Christmas at our house. Apparently, what his family told him at their little talk was that the aunts and uncles have no connection to Ready for Halloween, which in my opinion is just ridiculous. We all have a family connection. The entire family, including me, gets together for holidays just the same. It is simply a change in venue. I also pointed out while venting to my husband that their connection is with him, their nephew. And why were they singling me out as if I'm a stranger who isn't married to their relative? Not to mention, they have actually invited my family to holidays, two people who have even less connection to them. So the whole idea is just, I don't even know. Yes, you do, girl. They're lying.
Yeah.
You do know. They're full
You know
of crap.
why.
My husband brought up his grandma's selfish adoption comment, and her response was, well, if you were walking out into the street about to get hit by a bus, wouldn't you want me to stop you? I just don't even know what to say about that, so I'll let you do with this information what you will. He replied, wait, are you suggesting adoption is like getting hit by a bus, or me being with Ready for Halloween is like getting hit by a bus? At this point, I was sure she meant the latter, and I started crying.
What part of this was good?
None of this was good.
What part of this was good?
He assured me that she meant adoption. Maybe I'm being sensitive. Either way, it's horrible, and she backtracked. He brought up a lot of things to which his mother just got defensive about or didn't respond. His grandparents, however, said they want to make things right. Make it up to me and apologize for everything. I think the grandpa being there is what influenced the grandma to be so nice about it. And by the way, are you the devil? Because if you were, then I guess you wouldn't have any interest in listening to full episodes
Yeah.
with stories like this.
The devil doesn't mess with all this.
The devil doesn't subscribe to our podcast, and you can listen to it on Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple Podcast or every whatever you can think of.
But
Just
you know who
search
does
OK
subscribe to
Storytime.
this?
There's a man up on our roof. So the fact is, his mom said nothing. She just got defensive at everything he said, didn't apologize or admit any wrongdoing, and expressed no desire to make things right or treat me better. To be honest, she's the one I feel most uncomfortable with. She was a single mother with twin boys at 17. She was a bipolar, heavy drinker, and they took care of her. Now that her sons have families, she's more manipulative than ever, and I don't think her opinion of me or our relationship will ever change. Ding, 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 bingo. But I am willing to have a better relationship with his grandparents and the rest of his family. I suppose I will just have to suffer through interactions with his mother as usual. And that is the end of that story. Girl, that did not go well.
Oh, I was
That
really
did not go
waiting.
well.
I was really waiting for the part where it went well, and it never came. So I think you need to have a talk with your husband where you say, girly, I think we need to adjust our language because you don't know what well means.
Yeah.
We need to take a look at the dictionary and say, oh, what's the definition of well? Because it wasn't that. That is the end of that story. My nephew accidentally broke my expensive glasses. My sister-in-law blamed me for it.
Yeah, you shouldn't have bought them in the first place.
This is why I got contacts.
My glasses. I can't see without my glasses.
So, for a quick backstory, I've been with my husband for 4 years and I love him dearly. His family can be interesting. They're really snippy with each other and they fight a lot. By the way, this comes from Kid Broke My Glasses. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, my sister-in-law is not always the nicest person, but I think a lot of it is because she has 5 children. She works and her husband doesn't help her much. So she's always tired.
Aw.
Also, I make less than $30,000 a year and don't have the best health insurance, but I depend on my glasses because my vision is so bad. So I always invest in them. I just got this pair of glasses last month and spent about $400 on them. So the problem, one of my nephews is severely autistic. He is not verbal, he still wears diapers, and he can be prone to fits of rage and frustration. I am not the best with children either, which compounds the problem with me. However, he has recently been enrolled in a special needs school that seems to be helping him, and I've learned how to understand him somewhat. We are visiting for Christmas, and just last night, the autistic nephew crawled in my lap and started grabbing at my face. This is how he gets people's attention, and you're supposed to hold his shoulders to show you're listening / paying attention. But before I could reach down and grab his shoulders, he yanked my glasses off in his hands and the frames right off. I mean, he squeezed them in half in his hands and the bridge snapped.
Oh.
Here's what gets me. I didn't grab his shoulders then because I was so shocked, so he started squealing and getting frustrated. And his mother, who had been sitting across from me the entire time watching, asked, "What the heck is your problem?" and took him off my lap. I told her my problem was that I couldn't see, and she just grunted, "You have an extra pair," and walked away. I know it's totally fair to expect her to pay for the glasses, especially since I need a new pair every year, and my extra pair will work. It's just a degree or two lower than my current one. I cannot afford another $400 pair of glasses now, and I think it's pretty crappy that I'm getting blamed for her kid breaking my stuff. But he has special needs, and she is stretched so thin financially and emotionally, so I have a hard time figuring out how to ask her to pay for them. I'm honestly afraid that if I ask for the money, she'll take it out on my husband, or my husband and I won't be invited back for the holidays. As difficult as his family can be, they are still his family and he loves them, and so do I. So what's the best way to ask without burning all of our bridges, or should I just it up and pay for them myself? Edit, effing hell, rip my inbox. Edit 2, one lens is totally broken. The other is scratched beyond repair. I'm sorry, I should have said that. I don't think I was very clear with my eye doctor when I called because I was in a panic, so I will try updating again. And there is another update. First, I want to thank everybody for their input and perspectives. You all were very helpful. I want to give a special thank you to the people with children with disabilities who mentioned their own experiences and explain that even though their children have special needs, they as parents are still responsible for what they break. Yes, parents can use their child's disability as a way to shrug off responsibility. I needed to hear that. Next, I want to explain a little about why I can't just buy glasses online and feel safe, and I hope I don't sound condescending. My better eye is -9.5, and my other eye is -14, and I have an astigmatism. Oh my God, you're blind. That is an intense, that's like literally you're blind.
Girl, you got some thick lenses. I know
That's
that for
wow.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense why you can't order them online because that's like a very wow. I will probably be legally blind in the one eye within the next decade because it is getting so bad so quickly. And so I think from what I've learned, it's without glasses that's legally blind, but then if you have glasses at a certain point, you just become legally blind because contacts and glasses don't work at a certain point. In other words, my eyes are almost worthless without correction. I need my glasses to be perfect, so I trust experts to handle the issue for me. There was even a time when they called me and said they had to send the new glasses back because they got them, checked them, and noticed they were off. I drive, cook, handle heavy equipment, and sometimes watch children, so I need my vision to be spot on. I truly appreciate the recommendations for websites, but from my personal experiences and from what experts have told me, it is not a good idea for somebody with eyes like mine. I contacted the eye doctor again this morning and asked about my glasses. They confirmed that I would have to pay for the new lenses, but my frames were under warranty. That's good. They'll give me 25% off the lenses I had before and will also order up a second pair in discontinued frames with more basic lenses. No transition, lower high index level, so on, for emergencies, and I would have the second pair for free. Today, my husband spoke to his sister. He told her that Andrew broke my brand new glasses, and because Andrew is her child, she is responsible for the damage, just as she would be if one of the other kids broke a neighbor's window. He said he realized she doesn't really care about my broken glasses, and she assumed my older pair is just as good. He told her that's not how it works. I am blind without them, and I need the most up-to-date prescription to see properly and not get headaches, and I feel you because whenever I wear the wrong prescription, even if it's just a little bit off, I have the worst headache all day. Sister-in-law said it wasn't her fault because Andrew is autistic, and my husband got upset and told her she can't keep using that excuse every time Andrew breaks something. He also pointed out that we've heard from other parents who said they would pay for any damage their autistic child caused. Thanks, Reddit. And she got super pissed that he'd mentioned it to somebody else. She kept repeating that it wasn't her fault, I was careless, and then she claimed I just don't like her kids, that I never help out anyway. That is ridiculous. Well, I do not live very close to my sister-in-law. I help her when I'm in town every other month or so. I watch her 5 children several days a week. That includes her autistic son, Andrew, who needs diapers changed, will scream for hours on end, rewatches the same loud part of a movie over and over and over until he's distracted with something else, and sometimes has to be coerced under a therapy blanket, and so on. I love him, and he clearly loves me. He has even developed a home sign for me, and the other kids call me Noni. I'm not asking for a medal or martyrdom. I'm simply pointing out that I do try to help her with these kids. Them all very well. At that point, my husband was really frustrated and asked my sister-in-law what she thought was fair. Sister-in-law said I should buy my own effing glasses for my stupid eyes, her words, and just take them off when I'm around her kids. I'd already told my husband that I was not okay with this option because it hurts to try and function without my glasses. And because autistic children usually don't like change and Andrew views my glasses as part of my face, he has never seen me without them except for the time he broke them. He also told her the kids will no longer be allowed to sit in my lap. I will have them sit beside me instead when they want to be read to or want to share a plate of food. My husband repeated that she was responsible, then made her the offer that I suggested. She could pay for half, so $150 after the 25% discount, and she could do it in installments if that was easier. He told her this was me being generous and that if it were him, he'd require the full amount. Sister-in-law said she had the money but didn't want to pay me because I'm a 4-eyed lying witch who doesn't need my glasses as much as I say I do. I hate this woman. I hate this woman. I think she just hates people who wear glasses. At the end of the day, I think like she just has like weird vendetta against people who wear glasses.
Yeah, also I understand how you hate people sometimes. The way that is making it so difficult for me is the mom being in the mom's shoes. She has 5 kids.
Yeah.
One of them is autistic. Husband doesn't help out much. She's probably just trying to get by, asking the sister for help. I'm just trying to see where she's coming from.
Oh,
where she's like in such a disarray
Absolutely.
and trying to keep up with everything. I don't like her attitude towards this.
That's the thing.
But is this a survival? Is she coming out of a survival thing? Like, I can't
sure
help you pay for
is.
this because I need to pay and help out with my own kids.
I'm sure she is, but there are so many better ways to say that. Like she could say, I don't have the money. I'm so sorry. I will, when I have that money, I will help you. Right now, I can't.
Yeah, coming from a place of pride.
Yeah, if she had come from, but yeah, it's this pride and anger and not willing to admit that she just can't do it. So she's going to attack the person who's asking. My husband told her tough crap, and now I'm sitting here with an envelope with 3 50s in it. By the way, you guys can also listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more to this story. We're staying with my mother-in-law who came in an hour ago and mentioned that sister-in-law called her in a huff and insisted I'll never be allowed to watch her kids again. Husband and I just looked at each other and knew that threat wasn't going to hold firm. And sure enough, husband just got a text asking if we can watch the kids for a few hours on Monday. She's not talking to me and will probably be cold on Christmas, but I get the feeling she'll get over it. She better.
Oh, absolutely.
Or if she ever tries to talk to you, just take off your glasses and be like, I don't want to look at you. But that is the end of that story.
I asked my mother-in-law to help me after birth because my mother is making everything even worse.
Get out of there, Mom.
This is some Dr. Seuss, Who's the Goose? So I want to preface this by saying that my husband is currently deployed and will most likely not be able to come home for the birth of the baby. Knowing this, my husband and I had originally planned for my own mother to fly into town and help me before and after giving birth. Keep in mind, we were going to play for the plane tickets. By the way, this comes from Chronically Anxious, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So for the past few months, I've had this gut feeling that my mom wouldn't be able to help me in the ways that I needed help. So I discussed this with my therapist. There we go. And we decided that I should have a conversation with my mom, letting her know what I might need help with. The following days, I finally gathered up the courage to talk to my mom and let her know how I expect this day to go. I told her I would probably need help with cooking and chores that require bending over in the event I get a C-section. I also told her that during this time, her role is to be my mom and not grandma. So, take care of mom, don't just focus on the baby. She laughed at that comment, and the whole conversation just made me feel uneasy. The feeling was solidified when my sister called me the next day, and she informed me that my mom was complaining about how I had a bunch of rules for when she visits. Then, 3 days later, she calls me. I had an inclination that it was because she was upset with what I was asking for so shortly after I answered the call, and I said, my husband is leaving for deployment tomorrow. We are doing XYZ one last time, to hint at her that now is not a good time to discuss these things. Unfortunately, my mom doesn't exactly care about others' needs or emotions, so she kept pressing. That's a bold statement. She asked me even if I wanted her to visit, and she also made a snide comment about me wanting a live-in maid. Opie says, when I tell you I lost my crap at her saying I want a live-in maid, I am not even kidding. And I'm not proud of this, but I yelled at her and I said, I'm sorry you expected to come here and be catered to, have me cook and clean for you with my vajayjay bleeding and my nips chapped and bleeding while my husband is deployed, that you thought that you would get to play grandma the entire time? Her response was, well, you didn't say you wanted that. So I'm having my mother-in-law come instead of my mother. My mom doesn't know this. I lied by omission when I called her the following week to let her know that she can visit when my husband returns from deployment instead. So she thinks that I'm just going to have some local friends assist me. I told my sister I may have mother-in-law come out instead, and she was skeptical, but mostly because of our own mother's reaction. Like I am making the wrong choice because if our mom were to find out, it would be immense drama. So am I the a-hole for this? And we've got edits, relevant comments, and a lot of juice left in this story. This is a long one, but let's pause right here.
I think it's the most important thing for OP to be happy, safe, and comfortable.
Correct.
So, I mean, choosing the right person to help you with that, I think is like that's above all else.
Yeah, you're basically prioritizing someone else's feelings, and maybe not the most best placed feelings over your physical health and well-being.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is not great.
Yeah. Your health and well-being comes first, OP.
Do you think OP's the a-hole?
I don't think so.
Not the a-hole, but maybe the best thing to do is to just fully communicate and say, hey, look, we had this conversation. I'm just going to have mother-in-law come over and help. Because now she has
if you're like being so difficult, like what? Like, let me just have someone who's going to be easy.
Edit. The only people who know that my mother-in-law is coming to help are my mother-in-law, myself, and my husband. I mentioned the idea of my mother-in-law coming to my sister because for a brief period, my sister was going into my mother's place. However, due to my sister being a labor and delivery nurse in a different state, the likelihood of her being able to be here when I go into labor was slim to none. Dude, that's so tragic when Your sister is literally a labor and delivery nurse, but can't be at your.
I know.
That would be so
It's like, do your job.
You're fired. I casually mentioned to my sister that my mother-in-law canceled her cruise and will be available when I'm due to feel out her reaction to me no longer needing her help around that time. Anyways, that's why my sister knows that there's a possibility of my mother-in-law coming. I purposely haven't told her my mother-in-law is coming to prevent her from slipping up and telling my mom. I know it's all messy, and it's mostly because everything unfolded so quickly. And we do have some relevant comments as well. Commenter number 1, not the a-hole. You and your sister ought to think about how much worrying about your mom's reaction to things affects your own choices. To which OP replies, that's something I'm working on in therapy. I feel pretty confident in my decision until my sister was like, oh, but it'll be so bad, blah, 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 blah. That's when I started having some mixed feelings about it. Commenter number 2, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see a problem with asking your mom to be a quote-unquote live-in maid. I did it for my daughter this past summer when she had surgery for some touch-up work after having 4 kids and a hysterectomy.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a rough combo.
I did whatever she needed and made sure that she had lots of ready-to-bake meals in her freezer for when I left. OP replies to that, the only issue was the context and tone in which she said it. It was super accusatory, and she said I was speaking to her like I was interviewing her for a job, despite me saying I was serious because I was asking for help for something that's just hard for me to do. So OP responds to a comment about being passive-aggressive. OP says, no, the passive-aggressive means that I'm frustrated because I've mentioned countless times that I'm trying to figure out how I want to reframe my relationship with my mother and establish better boundaries for the sake of me and for the sake of my child. Yet you're just incessantly commenting about how I should have done X, Y, and Z while stating that I need to quote unquote be an adult when things have already happened and I'm already low contact. That is also new information. Low contact with the mother as of now. So go ahead, spam the comments. I'm not responding anymore. And some additional information from OP after reading comments in the original post. OP says, thanks everyone. Logically, I know I'm not the a-hole, but I just needed some validation from people not involved to help that sink in. I don't know if that makes sense to y'all or not. I know I still have a lot of growing to do, and I know that I have to work on my boundaries with my mom and my desire to overshare with my sister. I'm not perfect, and I am working on it. Literally, these are my current goals and objectives for therapy. But thank you to anyone who takes the time to read my post and provide their insight. I appreciate it. And we have the big update 6 days later, potentially post-delivery.
Ooh.
Potentially.
Ooh, so we'll get to see how like all of this help played out, or lack of help, rather.
Yes. How does the mom, like, the truth is going to get out that the mother-in-law is coming instead of the mom.
Yeah.
And from the context clues we've gathered, it sounds like mom won't like that.
Yep. Doesn't sound like she knows how to take things well and
Yes.
with grace.
After 2 weeks of no contact, I finally spoke with my mom today, and I revealed that I had been distant due to having to process my feelings. I told her that I found it very hurtful that me asking for help was spun into her requiring to be my live-in maid during my postpartum period. I had also explained that I had not been updating her or my dad on the pregnancy due to their lack of interest/support. During this conversation, I learned that when I had first asked for help, she, for some reason, interpreted this as me saying I did not want her to be there. She kept repeating over and over, well, you had made up your mind that you didn't want me there when you were talking to me about the things you needed. So I stopped her and I was like, make this make sense. Why the heck would I have it in my mind that I'm paying for your ticket to come over here, come up with a list of ways that I want/can be helped, work up the courage to have that conversation with you and have that talk? Why would I go through all of that? I'm 26 years old. I have no interest in playing mind games. She didn't have a real response to that other than, okay, mystery solved as to where all of that stemmed from. As a lack of interest/support that quite literally stemmed from their reactions or lack thereof to the news of me being pregnant and any updates regarding the pregnancy, such as the name, gender, appointment updates, etc., any information that was revealed to both my mom or dad, I would get a very mild, cool. When I addressed this today, my mom asked, well, how do you want us to react? I responded with, I shouldn't have to tell my parents how to show interest or excitement over a new grandchild. While it might seem like this conversation didn't go well because there was no real promise of a solution or change, it was extremely healing for me. I prefaced the talk with, I am not expecting anything to change. I am just letting you know the reasons that I've been distant. I have already thought about this and I've already processed these feelings. I need to put this out there. That way it doesn't build and I don't end up resentful. I like it.
That's clear communication with a boundary, and also it exposes the potential for a relationship in the future too. It's kind of like it kind of has all of the necessary parts.
It's like I'm giving you
Full
the chance.
context. Yeah.
I'm giving you full context, and also I don't want to build undue resentment and then put that back on you. Like that's unfair to you. So it's like I'm going to say all this. I have no expectations from you.
Yeah.
But here it is. Grade A. I like it. I like it, chat. Also, I felt so proud because I was able to have that conversation, be very matter of fact, focus on actions, not character, and remain calm throughout the whole talk, despite jabs and unnecessary remarks. But yeah, thanks for all the people who provided input on my initial post. There's a lot more layers, childhood trauma that feeds into the dynamic that I have with her. So just know that this update and initial post is kind of like a little scratch on the surface. And guys, we are not even halfway done with the story. This is a fatty 4K word.
Wow. Oh, 4K.
Yes, sir.
That is
Yes,
a
sir.
long story. 4,000 words.
So speaking of which, we've got some relevant comments. Dive right into.
Yeah, let's hit those relevant comments.
So, commenter number 1 says, your mother is spinning things to suit her narrative. It's not logical and not something you should think about. If your mother-in-law can help you, take her help. I'd say your parents aren't ones to rely on in this new chapter of your life. Have they always been like this? Has your mom always spun things to change the narrative? I hope you have a speedy recovery and congrats on becoming a new mom. Opie says, this talk definitely opened my eyes that she creates the narrative to help preserve her ego and play the victim, something I already knew, but this helps solidify it even more. In the past, she would reframe things to make it seem like she was some great mother figure, or she would place herself in an imaginary competition with my own mother-in-law and my sister's mother-in-law, so that's always been a constant. However, this was the first time that she revealed the false narrative that way, and as for my dad, he's quite aloof, for lack of a better word. He tends to follow my mom's lead. And thank you. As I enter the 3rd trimester, it's sinking in more and becoming more and more exciting. So
good.
we haven't popped it out yet, but
we're ready to pop.
we're right there.
Ready to pop.
Just right at the brink. Commenter number 2 says, I know these words are used a lot on Reddit, but your mother sounds manipulative and toxic. Manipulative because she tries to spin it where she's the victim. This behavior has been present since as long as you can remember. It's clear as day from your post, and it's like she's trying to make you feel like you're crazy. Opie responds with, she definitely was trying to make me feel crazy. She also claimed that I was ignoring her and avoiding her for months, which I also had to correct. I had to explain that I started distancing myself mid-September, but I still responded to her and answered her calls. I told her the only reason that I feel like this, that it feels so much worse than what was actually happening was because for once, it was not me doing the heavy lifting of the relationship. In the past, I was the main one constantly reaching out, texting first and calling. And to be frank, within those 2 weeks, she only made 3 attempts to contact me. She called me 2 times. When I couldn't answer those, she finally texted me this past Saturday, and I responded to it saying I was very busy, which is true, and that I loved her. By the way she retold it, she had it in her head that she was constantly calling me and texting me, but I was just straight up ignoring. And Opie clarifies some details on the mother calling in to fly in to help her at home. Opie says, when I found out when I was pregnant, we knew my husband would be deployed when I was due. So early in my pregnancy, I spoke with my mom and asked her if she would be able to come and help. She agreed to come and we offered to pay for the ticket. Then last month, I called her to have a conversation that was focusing on what ways I needed help since I had not really had a talk with her about that. And I just made those comments in passing. Okay. Update 5 months later.
Oh, I love when we have a saga that just spans multiple months.
Dude.
And this is post-pop.
This is
post-pop. Baby's out.
If this baby hasn't been born yet, then they are me.
They are you.
Because they were baking in there for 12, 13, 14, 15 months. That's literally the only way this baby's not out. This is an update I didn't think would actually happen, but here we are.
Here we are.
Just a warning, I'm raging internally, so this might not be written well. First and foremost, the birth went well. My mother-in-law was incredibly helpful and supportive. The months leading up to me giving birth, the relationship I had with my mother was very surface level. I did not reach out as frequently. Things got a bit tense about a week prior to me giving birth due to other familial issues. My mother did not call or text me the 2 weeks leading up to my due date. However, the icing on the cake was my father asking if I was having a boy or a girl. My husband and I told both of them already last summer. And the distance led me to telling them that I had my son the next afternoon. Now, that decision brought me a lot of peace. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago, I called my mother to chat, not about anything serious, just a quick check-in. The phone call threw me off because she apologized to me. Apologies. She said, I miss you. Our relationship is different, and I don't know how to fix it because I feel like I don't have the opportunity to. I should have handled that talk a lot differently, and I want to come and help you.
Are we seeing some growth?
Whoa. Somebody please clip that.
We're seeing growth, and we love to see it.
I don't know if it was my postpartum hormones, but against my better judgment, I offered to have her come over for 6 days. So honestly, my first red flag should have been her not fighting back and saying that she would pay her own way. But oh well. I figured this visit would benefit me in the sense that I could at least try to be less resentful, and I could at least say that I tried. She arrived Saturday night, and the first full day was Sunday. I spent a lot of that day feeling agitated because the second I would lay my son down in his bassinet, go do something, she would pick him up. It became quite clear to me that my decision to have my mother-in-law come and help me was the correct one. That evening, I told her that she cannot pick up my son every single time he cries because once she leaves, I physically am not able to do that for him. I told her that I'm essentially a single parent until the foreseeable future. She sheepishly apologized and said she wasn't thinking about after she wasn't going to be there, which I think is fair. But this stay has been a crap show. I didn't trust her watching him alone for long periods of time because I caught her starting to fall asleep on the couch while holding my baby literally 30 minutes after she told me I could go nap. Thank God I was in the kitchen prepping dinner and I caught it, her holding the baby while sleeping. She did not offer to make meals. She made a comment about eating dinner at 8 p.m. because she isn't used to it like me. I had to tell her that eating dinner at 8 p.m. is not a choice. I told her that she didn't offer to step in and start dinner while I was doing laundry, FaceTiming my husband in between his watches, or nursing my son. What was she doing? Basking in the Florida sun on my patio with the dogs while scrolling on her dang phone. Stop scrolling TikToks, Mom. It's baby time.
No, she's learning. She's on baby talk. She's learning how do you hold a baby without falling asleep?
Yeah, while falling asleep. Gotta love it. The real reason I'm rage typing all of this isn't even because of her lack of help. It is her lack of emotional support. Today, I was told that my husband's deployment has been extended. I was sobbing. What did mother do? She said, I'm sorry. I haven't gotten a single hug from her. I got this news 4 hours ago. What I did get was her telling me to go take a shower, which was really code for go shower so I can cuddle with the baby because you won't be able to. I feel so angry, disappointed, and ashamed that I spent that money on her coming out here. I guess it's not a total loss because this stay has helped me not put on rose-colored glasses like I normally do when it comes to her.
Which is good. I mean, take off those rose-colored glasses, see her for who she actually is, and then treat her accordingly. Like, you don't want your baby to be around someone that has baby butter hands when they fall asleep and drop your baby on their little baby head.
I drop her off in a few hours as planned. Thank goodness. For those saying to never pay her way again, I absolutely 1000% know that's not going to happen. I did it because she was always making comments about being single income and having to pinch money. I felt bad despite my husband and I also being a single income family. However, I feel tricked because while she was here, it was revealed that my parents are going to Vegas next weekend. The whole stay has left me feeling like a big idiot who was tricked. I'm so glad she is gone first thing in the morning. And there are some relevant comments. Commenter number 1 says, I'm so sorry that your husband's deployment was extended and I'm sending you hugs. Do you know any of the other spouses of your husband's unit or local military? I've heard that can be a great support system. Very smart, especially if they've been through having kids while their spouse was deployed. I wish I could give you more than more words to help. You're being hit with so many struggles and emotions while your body just went through major trauma. Even a good birth is trauma for your body. It's okay to be an emotional mess to anyone telling you, and anyone telling you different is lying. Take support wherever you can get it, and don't be afraid to ask because at worst, you'll get a no, and at best, you'll get that support. Reach out to your mother-in-law whenever you can and consider sending your mom home early if she's still there. OP responds, She leaves tomorrow morning, thankfully. Then my mother-in-law flies in Sunday, so I'll get a real break soon. And then commenter number 1 replies to that, I'm so relieved for you. I don't know if you have considered it, but individual counseling could help you process, just vent all of this, and maybe help you establish boundaries that benefit you while minimizing the guilt you feel, especially regarding your mom. She gave birth to you, but that doesn't mean that you owe her peace.
Yeah, I think something
you
we've
owe
seen
her
in
peace.
Reddit a lot is like just a family member earns their place in your life just like anyone else.
Yes.
And if they continually are disrupting your peace, then you can put a little distance there.
Like just because their family doesn't give them an infinite pass to just like bulldoze your boundaries. So Opie responds, I have a follow-up appointment in 2 weeks. I go bike weekly, but sprinkle in extra sessions as needed since TRICARE thankfully doesn't have a limit and will pay for as many sessions as needed. And Opie responds to a comment about her being resentful towards her mother because OP wasn't getting any support as she was that wasn't getting any of the support she was hoping for. OP says, yes, I am resentful towards her. I'm trying to work through it. It's hard. She's not a bit selfish. She is selfish. It's not just this. It's a mountain of things from childhood as well as this period of my life. I wasn't passive aggressive regarding that dinner. I spoke with her about her not helping or offering to help at the end of the night after she made 3 passive aggressive comments about eating so late when she never vocalized that she was hungry sooner. Time tends to go by very quickly when you're judging a household and a newborn alone, and unfortunately that means eating later than I would like to. However, she's perfectly able-bodied, and she could have told me she was hungry, and I would have either sent her the recipe I was using or managed my time a bit better. Or, I mean, this is seemingly a, 50, 60, 70-year-old woman. Does she not possess the tools
to make her own food?
To procure something to eat?
I don't know if those teeth work. I mean, blending stuff is hard.
Opie says she rarely calls and texts me. I do most of the reaching out for our relationship. If she does reach out first, it's maybe once every few weeks. She did not go out of her way to call me or apologize. Also, she is a hugger. She hugs people all the time. I just can't fathom my child sobbing on the couch while I laughing at a movie that is playing in the background while they get awful news pretending that everything is okay. That's not a great sight to imagine. This trip has made me accept that while she'll never be able to fulfill the emotional wants and needs I wish she could give me. And that is the end of the story.
Oh, it's hard to distance yourself from a parent. Like you could like we saw these red flags from the beginning, but it's just like it takes a while. It takes years potentially of someone being terrible to you for you to realize, like, because it's like we talk about the reality distortion field of relationships, romantic relationships a lot. And usually, those are later in life. Yes. And you also have reality distortion fields of your family. Like they can just as easily say, oh, like this is the love you deserve and this is the love you should expect. And it takes maybe someone showing you differently to understand that you are in the reality distortion field and this is not what you need to accept. And so I think that's why it can take so long and be so painful to eventually put up those boundaries because you didn't even know you needed those boundaries in the first place.
Yeah, and it's such a delicate balancing act because it's like, I feel like I can see OP trying to be empathetic and trying to, especially in the beginning of the story, but it's like at the end of the day, you don't want to just let someone run over your boundaries. So yeah, it's a hard balancing act, especially coming from a place where they weren't there to begin with.
Exactly. But I think OP, made the right decision and has made a bunch of good decisions.
Indeed, Amundo.
Indeed, my deed.
My in-laws caused a lot of drama, and I made sure that others knew about it.
We're going to air out all their dirty laundry.
Oh, yeah. Am I the a-hole for getting unintended revenge on my in-laws by ruining their relationship with extended family? Let's find out, shall we? I'm female, 36, and my husband is 35, male. Included in this is husband's parents, mother-in-law and father-in-law, and husband's aunt and uncle, his father's sister. This is a long story spanning 10 years, but I don't have anyone who isn't emotionally involved in the situation, so I'd like some outside input. We got it for you. And while this is ridiculously long, it also feels like a death by 1,000 cuts situation, So I wanted to include the smaller details so that you have the whole picture.
Oh boy.
Strap in, everyone. Lock in. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, just go to the r/okstorytime subreddit. So my husband and I have been married for 10 years. We met in my hometown while he was there on an extended work assignment and dated for a year before getting married. I met his parents twice before our wedding, as they lived several states away. The first time was on a quick overnight trip to their home after we got engaged, and the second time they crashed our vacation. The vacation story.
Uh-oh.
The day before we arrived at our vacation spot, his mom called my husband to say that they were going to the same place to vacation with us. He had told them a week prior where we were going while on a routine phone call with them. I got horribly ill right before we left with a double ear infection and chest infection, but since the vacation was already paid for and we had the time off work, we went anyway. Dang. Not the ideal situation for a vacation. I pushed through though, but it was a rough time for me. His parents expected us to spend the entire time with them and were upset if we tried to do anything by ourselves. What? They also made snide comments about me needing to take breaks and naps due to my illness and not participating in drinking bar hopping after dinner. Honestly, I was so sick I don't remember a lot. My husband was okay with it, as it was supposed to be just him and me anyway, and he wanted to make sure that I was taken care of. The third time I met his family was during our wedding day. Originally, I had wanted a courthouse wedding with only our parents and then a large backyard barbecue/potluck. Dude, tell Sophia, she would love that. She loves the idea of a barbecue wedding thing. At the time of the wedding, I knew that we were moving to my husband's hometown soon due to his work, and since I didn't have a job lined up, I was trying to plan the wedding, so we spent as little as possible. My husband was fine with this. His mother called me after my husband told his parents about the wedding plans and asked me to do a real wedding. She explained that since she eloped and never had a real wedding, she wanted that for her only child.
Okay.
I later found out that mother-in-law and father-in-law had a large wedding after their elopement.
So if that wasn't real in their eyes,
Yeah.
then what is a real wedding? Is
So-
it going to be larger?
Yeah, exactly.
Extra very large?
Exactly. I rolled with it, and thanks to the amazing friends and family, I was able to organize a decent wedding in 6 weeks with about 60 guests. I didn't really like being on this spot in a crowd, but the important part was celebrating our love and dedication and sharing that with the important people in our lives, so it's fine. I'm thankful for the day now for all it represents, but a part of me still wishes I had stuck to my pew-pews.
Firearms.
I stuck to my firearm. That sounds like a different situation.
to the tools I used to defend my defensible land.
I think my anxious self would have had a lot of a better time. His mother initially offered to help, but never followed through or changed her mind every time I turned around. They offered to pay for the bar tab during the reception, but changed their minds. My husband handled them and got it sorted because I had enough on my plate, but I didn't appreciate the constant extra work it was to deal with them flip-flopping when I had enough going on. And no, it wasn't money. I asked for a budget, and it was well under what they told me it was their max. I offered to pay for mother-in-law and my own mother to get hair and makeup done the day of the wedding. I did this for all the bridesmaids as well, since being a bridesmaid can be so expensive, and I was trying to help them out. Initially, mother-in-law declined, then last minute told me that she wanted the services, which caused me to have to pay more out of pocket than I was planning, and most annoying, rearrange the schedule 2 days before the wedding. Additionally, mother-in-law and father-in-law were supposed to bring my husband's grandmother to the wedding, but changed their minds last minute as it would be inconvenient for them. Due to their medical issues, grandma wasn't able to fly, and they were the only family on his side driving. They came in an RV
Fun.
and took over a week to drive 15 hours and used it as extra vacation time for them before and after the wedding.
Okay.
Sure.
That's fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
Since grandma wasn't able to come, my husband's aunt and uncle had to stay at home and help take care of her, and we weren't able to attend either. They were the primary caretakers of grandma, and my husband's parents had never watched her to share the load, even though they lived close. This caused an ongoing rift between the aunt and uncle and mother and father-in-law. My husband's family is so small, so the only people related to him that ended up coming were his parents. I felt sad for him compared to my large family, but we had plenty of friends there to support him, so I let it go. The day of the wedding went fine, usual ups and downs and last minute problems. I was so busy that it wasn't until later when my mom told me about mother-in-law trying to take our gifts.
Dude, I'm trying to like
Oh.
clock mother-in-law.
Yeah,
She's back and forth. Doesn't sound like she doesn't really know what she wants.
yeah,
And now is trying to take the gifts.
yeah. She's a wild one, unpredictable.
Yeah, and I also see animosity coming from the aunts and uncles staying back with grandma, and they might come into play later.
The gift story. Due to being established in our homes and moving shortly after the wedding, we did a wishing well for our wedding gifts. We advised all guests that we didn't want gifts just for them to come celebrate, especially as many people were out of town, and if they wanted to gift something, to gift us cash and put it in our wishing well fund so that we could use it for our future. That's a cute little thing to call it, a little wishing well.
Mm-hmm.
My mom found this poem to go with the explanation, and it was adorable, so I let her handle that. The day of the wedding, my mother found mother-in-law trying to open the cards addressed to Mr. and Mrs., my married last name. When my mom saw this, she told mother-in-law to stop and told her that the cards were for my husband and me. Mother-in-law said that the cards had her name on it. Oh. She's like, I'm
there's no way.
Mrs. blah, blah, blah.
Well, my name is written on it. My name's written on it.
Yes, that's right. She told my mom that she thought the gifts were for her since they had her name on it. Never mind, she was at her son's wedding. My mom didn't want to stress me out, so she didn't say anything until much later, but she set mother-in-law straight and was not gentle. Wedding was great. We passed on a honeymoon to save up for the move, and a little bit later, we were moving to my husband's hometown. His parents had generously offered to let us stay with them until we both had jobs and were able to find housing in their area, and I was super thankful to have some support since I had never lived so far away from my family before. Our stuff was packed in storage until we were able to find a place. We arrived after a long move and drive. It was the second time I had ever been to his parents' home. Upon arrival, we found one large difference than before. Every room except the bathroom and our bedroom had cameras. Some even 2 cameras to catch different angles. Even the front and backyard had cameras. Mother-in-law and father-in-law wanted to keep an eye on the house while we stayed with them. I know, looking back, we never should have stayed, but you can't change the past. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Also, there's one person I have not heard a word from, and that's husband. Has he said anything?
Mother-in-law and father-in-law were the only ones with access to the cameras and would frequently question or comment on our activities during the day over dinner. They also would inspect the bathroom and bedroom we used and comment if we left anything out of place, didn't have the bed made, or didn't have things the way they liked. Since I didn't have a job, I tried to be as helpful as possible and took over all the housework and cooking, even doing yard work, laundry, and pet care as needed. I began to feel like a prisoner, and in between job searching, I went for walks to try and stay out of the house or just hid in the bedroom if I wasn't doing chores. This caused mother-in-law and father-in-law to comment on me being unsocial because I wasn't in the communal areas of the home.
How do they know that?
From these things, they're
I know,
spying.
but like, maybe that's just some people. Dude, on the weekends, I'm nowhere to be seen in the communal area. I am just in my room playing video games all weekend.
Yeah.
And maybe outside.
Also, the walls in this house were thin, so I didn't even feel like I could speak with my husband in our bedroom without being overheard. More than once, we would hear someone in the hallway if we were talking to each other, and I figured that they were eavesdropping. We spent a lot of time whispering and texting, even when sitting next to each other with the bedroom door closed. After a few weeks, I found a job and started work. I continued to do cooking and cleaning, however, as we still weren't paying rent or utilities. Husband and I told his parents we would find our own place. His parents convinced us that they were happy to have us and offered to let us stay for free so that we could save to buy a home. I figured with everything we had saved and been gifted, it would only be a few months of savings before we were ready for this. We discussed it privately, my husband acknowledging the cameras and his parents' behavior, but ultimately we decided to stay to get the best leg up for our future. My husband had student loans, so after speaking with his parents, we paid them off out of our savings. Yes, it was a good chunk of money, and began saving for a house. Note, father-in-law had taken out a personal loan as well and gave it to my husband to help with college. Oh, wow. This will be important later. Oh, no. After a few weeks, mother-in-law and father-in-law decided to go on a weekend vacation and left us in charge of the house. I was so happy to be alone, but the first night they called and asked about their pets, but again made many comments on what we had been doing throughout the day, making it clear that they were watching us on the cameras. At this point, anxiety over being constantly watched got to me, and I asked my husband to turn off the Wi-Fi or even go to the extreme of breaking the cameras because I needed a break.
That's destruction of property.
He covered the cameras with socks and told his parents it was so that they couldn't watch us. There you go. Just be upfront. That
Yep.
works too. Dakota Megamind.
Cover with socks, put strings on the socks so whenever you leave, you can pull them down easily and then walk away. And then you put them back on whenever you do.
Strings.
Yeah, do some Home Alone stuff. That's what we're doing.
With those, yeah. Or you could just be honest like he was. That works too, right?
Yeah, I mean, on a real level, I
sure.
think literally just like smack the cameras with like a stick.
Or a baseball bat.
Yeah. You can make it fun. Get a little Nerf gun. Make it like a thing where
Hey,
you,
babe, I
you
got-
try to like hit, shoot it off of the
Yeah.
of the railings.
Yeah, I like that.
Or you get the suction cup ones, and even better, try to hit it right on the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, they called upset that they couldn't watch us. We had peace for a day, and I felt better, but was really regretting not moving out. We discussed it again, but decided to stay. No costs were allowing us to save up quite a bit, especially after paying off the loan. The following night, we had my husband's old high school friend and his wife to dinner. Since I didn't have friends in the new area, my husband was trying to help me find a social circle. His parents called halfway through the evening. They'd seen the couple arrive on the outdoor cameras and began cussing me and my husband out. I could tell that they were both very intoxicated. My husband was used to this behavior from his childhood and wasn't saying anything, just letting them go until they stopped. But I could tell that he was upset, and the friends could hear everything. I took charge, told his parents that we'd talk when they were sober and calm, and disconnected. We didn't answer them for the rest of the night. They came back early the next morning and were livid, and we sat down and tried to discuss. The discussion started badly and ended worse. Oh, great. His father wouldn't stop screaming and cursing at us. His mother fabricated a situation in which she had told my husband not to have a party and kept saying that we betrayed their trust by having 2 people over. They tried to chide us like children. My husband and I had both lived on our own since 18, paid our own bills, and made our own way. At this point, we're 26, 27. My husband and I tried to calm them down and explain that we were both adults who could have people over for dinner, but his mother stomped off to another room and continued crying and wailing.
Dude, you gotta
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
That's
Get out of there.
insane. Why is an adult mad you had friends over for dinner?
Literally. Like
Two
what?
people.
2 people. That's not a party. Don't you know the saying? Two is company, 3 is a crowd.
You need at least a 0 on the end of that 2 for it to be party status.
Yeah. So father-in-law left and slammed things around on his way. Jeez. My husband and I went to the movies, went for lunch and a walk. We came home late to sleep, and they didn't acknowledge us. The next Monday, mother-in-law cornered my husband and gave him a list of demands that I had to do to earn her acceptance. One of which was to cry on demand because, in her words, I was so calm that she thought I was a robot. So she demanded that I be able to show her that I could have emotions. I have never heard such a thing.
Yeah, that's one of the most toxic things I might have ever heard.
I also had to apologize for being ungrateful. Mind you, I am still doing all of the cooking and cleaning and the laundry too. When my husband told me the demands, I lost my temper with him. It is the only time I've ever yelled at him in anger, and I made it clear that his mother was manipulating him and putting conditions on her love and acceptance. So the husband is backing up the mom right now? That she was doing this to get us to do what she wanted. I told my husband that if his mother ever wanted anything from me, she could talk to me herself. And if he ever got between us again, I would leave him. So yes, I lost my temper. But also, this helped open my husband's eyes all the way and see what his mother and father were doing.
Manipulating. See what I'm saying?
There you go. Manipulate back.
Right.
Fight fire with
Right
fire.
to
Am I
leave,
right?
and he gets it.
Lore from OP, I have to say, as a child of emotional, I don't think he recognized that this behavior was wrong the same way I did. He has a lot of trauma he hides under laughter, but I wasn't willing to let our relationship be controlled by his mom. We had a long talk in our car and resolved to find a place to live and move out as soon as possible. We got back and I asked mother-in-law if she wanted to speak with me. She looked to my husband and I shooed him away, explaining that she needed to speak with me directly, not through him. She turned away and refused to speak with me. She hasn't spoken to me since.
I know people like this, and it's just annoying to be around.
2 days later, we were homeless. My husband had a big blow up with his parents, who cornered him while I was at work. I came back to find the car loaded with all of our clothes and anything that wasn't in storage. Helped my husband with the last of it, and we left. At this point, I didn't even question it. I was 100% happy not being there. One of my husband's friends offered us a spare room, although it was awkward as I had never met the friend until moving into their house. It took us a few weeks until we were able to find a place to stay. But I felt so much better not being constantly watched and spied on. Dude, I bet. Yeah.
I freaking bet.
My husband wanted to cut ties with his parents and opened up to me more about some situations in his childhood that were 100%. He isn't one to dwell, and I'm the only person he has ever opened up to about this in such detail and without laughing to make light of the situation. Wow, that's good, big improvement from someone who, does that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I encouraged my husband to have low contact with his parents as he wanted to go no contact. He would occasionally go to lunch or dinner with them. They never wanted me there, and mother-in-law would make comments to my husband about how he should make sure to avoid having children with me because when you get divorced, etc., etc.
Okay. Not only are you talking about my wife, you're talking about my immediate family.
Yeah.
And as a family member, we don't talk about our family like that.
Not at all.
Dude, that is so toxic.
Yeah.
Ugh, these
That's
mother-in-laws be getting under my skin. The way Dakota doesn't like when people mistreat animals, that's how I feel about mother-in-laws. I just can't. Like,
Yeah.
bad in-laws, dude.
This upset my husband, but when he would say something to mother-in-law, she would gaslight him, saying that he misunderstood her. Father-in-law showed up one day at husband's work and was yelling and screaming about husband needing to pay him for the personal loan. We agreed to pay it just to keep the peace, but it was almost $500 a month, and it definitely put a dent in the house savings. Husband felt responsible since father-in-law took the loan out for him to use. This altercation also looked super bad to husband's coworkers and supervisors, and he got a lot of problems at work for several weeks because of this. Several months later, my husband got an important job honor, being generic for privacy, and invited his parents, who declined to come. My family flew down to go to the ceremony. Even my sister came and brought her 3 small children on a 12-hour drive. Wow. My family loves my husband. My parents consider him a bonus son, so it was great that we had all their support. I managed to get in touch with my family's aunt and uncle and invited them. They had been told some horrible things by father-in-law and mother-in-law about us, but agreed to come. Husband's ceremony was a great day, and I loved supporting him and seeing how they honored him. Later, his aunt pulled me aside and asked me questions about everything going on with father-in-law and mother-in-law. She told me that she had gone to father-in-law's work and tried to get him to come to the ceremony, but he refused. She is used to being in arguments with her brother and his wife, mother-in-law, so wasn't surprised at the drama. She told me that they'd get over it eventually, but she and uncle were both mad at mother-in-law and father-in-law for their behavior and for refusing to come to the ceremony. Husband's aunt and I talked regularly, and we began visiting with them for lunches and dinners and have slowly gotten closer over time. They have been a wonderful support system, and I often think of them as my true in-laws. Mother and father-in-law spread a lot of rumors through the extended family about my husband and me, saying that we had treated them so badly. It took years of just being ourselves, and eventually husband's extended family saw through this, but it was rough for a while. The worst was husband's grandmother's funeral. Father and mother-in-law were supposed to invite us. Aunt had planned the whole thing and had a lot to take care of, but thankfully only 2 days ahead called me to confirm if we were attending. I didn't know anything about it, as mother and father-in-law hadn't told us. Wow, so 2 days, like, okay, we gotta go to this. I gotta go to this funeral. Man. We made it, and due to us coming, mother-in-law refused to attend. Oh, wow. Father-in-law was stilted and awkward and left early. Yes, this is his own mother that has passed away. Oh my gosh, that's awful. About a year later, father-in-law ended up retiring and asked husband if they should move, and if they did, where to go so that they could be close to it. My husband's answer was that it didn't matter, as we can come visit or have them over regardless of where they settle, and told them to pick somewhere that would make them happy. Mother and father-in-law took this to mean that he didn't care about them and lost their minds.
It was more of a go live your best life in Florida, and we'll come visit you if you want.
Exactly.
That's what that said. That's what I heard.
Truly, like
Exactly.
that was a non. It was like literally go wherever you want. I'll go to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah.
what do you want to go?
Lots of nasty things were said to husband. Mother and father-in-law moved, and after a year, lost their home in a natural disaster. Oh no.
Oh no.
To help out, husband started a GoFundMe that raised them almost $10K, and we donated money and a lot of home goods and things for them. They later told him that he didn't do enough for them during this time.
Okay. We'll take that back. We'll take that money back. We'll give
Like-
it to someone else
Yeah,
in that
thanks.
community that would actually appreciate it. Thank you.
Exactly, dude. That's crazy.
I think I'm gonna send you a little invoice there for 10K.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Why? But this story is snowballing at the end here. It's
It really
like
is.
Yeah, it's just getting
there's
worse.
people passing away. There's natural disasters. It's like,
Dude.
whoa.
My husband still talked to his parents on and off for about 4 years after all of this until finally deciding to cut him off.
Nice.
The Mother's Day story. Husband called mother-in-law to wish her a happy day. She didn't answer, so he texted her. She called back later and told him via voicemail that she never liked this day because it reminded her of her biggest regret.
Wait a minute.
Oh my God! Roasted! Boom! Roasted! Dang, man! Dang! Holy crap!
Wait, so did I read that
on.
the mom just told her son, like, it reminds me that I had you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, those are direct quotes. He decided to go no contact, and unlike before, I fully supported him this time. I wrote them a letter, which he approved, and told them that they could contact me if they wanted to get in touch, and we'd like to have a better relationship in the future. Husband blocked them on everything. I was tired of them hurting him. I could see it every time they interacted, and every time my heart broke for him. Part of the no contact was the personal loan his father had taken out. My husband felt like since he used the money for school, he should pay it, even though it was in father-in-law's name. Part of why I love my husband is that he is responsible, so I agreed. We ended up writing them a check for $6K, the balance of the loan at that point, and sent it with the no contact letter.
Ooh.
Paying the loan wasn't a problem for me, but its existence was. The balance never stayed the same. They refused to show us statements, and at one point, father-in-law refinanced the loan, but a lot of things didn't make sense. Can you refinance a loan? Is that a thing?
They
Yeah.
figured it out. I mean, yeah, people finance their houses. That's a loan.
Yeah,
I
it's like
guess.
basically you
mortgage,
just
huh?
refinance for like refinancing is actually I'm not even going to talk about that because I don't know that
Yeah, there's
well.
a lot
But
of
it's like
adult
basically when you
things.
already have a loan and you're like I need more loan, you can just make
Okay.
it
Re-up for more
one
money.
You
loan.
just update. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
The payment went from $200 a month to $500 a month, and father-in-law gave conflicting statements about the total owed, so it inflated several thousand suddenly. My husband doesn't think father-in-law would lie, but I'm not so sure. Yeah, I think he would lie, for sure.
Oh yeah, he got $6K out of you. Of course, he's gonna try and do something to get more out of you.
Well, yeah, no, and technically he got 16 because he got the
10.
10 from the GoFundMe or from
Yeah.
the house.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Dang,
And he
dude.
still was like, you didn't do anything for me.
I think they manipulated my husband to pay off some of their own debts. Regardless, with the check and the letter, we were done. No more in-laws. It was a lot nicer, not gonna lie. We still had some updates from Aunt, which was okay with us. At one point, Aunt told us that father-in-law had admitted to cutting husband out of their will. Ooh. Whatever, we don't need anything, but it did make me laugh. Aunt is the executor and advised that if it comes to her, she is going to give us the entire estate anyway, regardless of mother and father-in-law's wishes.
All right.
Nice. Husband's uncle passed away recently, and his loss was hard for my husband.
Dang, he was like a good family.
Yeah. He had basically adopted my husband, helped him with home projects. Yes, we finally got a house. Father-in-law and mother-in-law refused to come to his funeral, and Aunt was pissed. Not only was she grieving, but she had to deal with their problems and got very upset with them. Now, almost 10 years after our wedding, we were out to dinner with Aunt. I mentioned something about my husband's father, the old one-twoing him in the face when he was 15. Oh, it fit the conversation we were having, and I didn't really think about it before saying anything. Aunt was stunned. Husband told her more details about the situation, answered questions, and soon a few of the worst moments of husband's childhood were being shared over appetizers.
Oof.
Physical, emotional, and neglect. Honestly, it wasn't even close to everything that had happened to him, but it was enough. Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh.
So it just became more real how terrible these parents are to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Dang, and you gave back so much to him too.
Yeah,
Out
yeah.
of respect.
All that you did. So it's good that now
Uh,
they have no contact. That's great.
Ugh.
Aunt has since told me of husband's family about everything and also gotten into it with mother and father-in-law over the abuse. It seems like family relationships with mother and father-in-law are damaged beyond repair at this point. I feel guilty, but I also think that they did it on their own through long years of drama and petty behavior. We aren't the only ones they have problems with. Mother and father-in-law consistently have issues with family and friends, so if not this, it would have been something. But I do feel that me saying something without thinking about it first ended up with them being more isolated as a consequence. And while I don't wish to have contact with them, I also don't want them to be out of touch with their family as they get older and start to have age-related medical issues. So am I the a-hole?
I don't think you're the AO. I
No.
feels like it came up naturally. Like you may have like started it and it may have like evoked some emotions, but I mean,
Yeah.
someone's got to know how bad these people are.
By the way, this story is done, but good thing we have full episodes with more stories just like this one.
On your podcast platform of choice, be it
iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. He's good. But yeah, wow. So that is the end of that story.
Dang.
my in-laws tried to involve CPS because of our rescue dogs.
CPS, not the fur babies being considered real children.
My mother-in-law texted one of my family members today saying she and my father-in-law thought about calling CPS on me and my spouse, but decided not to. Basically, according to them, we are willfully endangering our baby by having multiple dogs in the household and fostering dogs through a reputable and responsible rescue. All right, so far my gut's telling me the kids are fine.
Yeah.
By the way, this comes from user significant try 1044, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, ever since we were pregnant with said child, they've been making remarks that we need to rehome most of our dogs. We have 6 of our own and 2 fosters. Whoa. Simply due to the number that we have. My spouse and I know it's more dogs than most have, but we live in a rural area, have a massive outdoor area the dogs spend hours in, and don't keep or foster dogs that show any inkling of aggression towards humans. It's not even uncommon to have this many dogs where we live, and some people around us have many more than we do. Our yard is sandy, so the dogs do track in sand onto our hard surface floors that we vacuum daily. Because there is often some sand from letting the dogs in and our counters are cluttered, they consider our house dirty. By comparison, their house is always clean enough you could eat off of their floor. The worst part of all this is they admit CPS wouldn't do anything. Our child is healthy, happy, and clean. Their doctor says they are in perfect health, and the dogs have never so much as accidentally scratched, stepped on, or even looked at them wrong. We don't let the dogs in their bedroom or play area and actively train our dogs so they are good family members, either as our own dog or fosters. The dogs are also well taken care of, up to date on all shots, and friendly. They can be energetic due to their various breeds, but we make sure any rough and tumble play is outside in the designated yard. They've got the designated roughhouse yard. My spouse and I also work in jobs that involve children and have been in serious situations where CPS has been rightfully called. It stings so much that someone would think to use CPS workers to bully us into rehoming our actual dogs and stop fostering just because they admit they don't understand how or why we live the way we do. I think I'm more heartbroken than anything because I can't fathom why someone would hypothetically put us through this.
Just like, why? What?
Even our non-dog loving family members have acknowledged that our dogs are all very friendly and our home is a safe environment for our child. As much as I love each and every one of my furry little toddlers, the dogs, I know they are animals and would never keep one if I had any suspicion they could hurt my child or their friends. I know CPS wouldn't actually remove our child, but I can't stop wondering if every knock or phone call is from a worker starting an investigation. Would I be an a-hole if I ceased contact with my mother-in-law and father-in-law? I don't know if I even have anything to say to them. I don't know if I can even look at them. I can't even sleep because I'm worried they'll end up calling, even though they said they wouldn't. Why would they even mention this? How can they say they love us and not acknowledge how much an investigation into a false allegation could affect our child, our jobs, everything, our whole life? Sorry if this is all over the place. If anyone even reads this, we're reading it. I know they never really liked us since my spouse and I are very different from them. I just never thought they'd try to do this to us, let alone trying to use my family against us too. But see, that's the thing. And they didn't. But they said they would. I am going no contact with the in-laws for the foreseeable future, as is our child.
Cool. Right.
Fair.
There we go.
Fair. Fair. My spouse is leaning towards no contact, but at the very least, severely limiting contact. They have spent all day today after our phone call last night.
Ooh.
So they did confront and did directly communicate about this.
I guess.
They have spent all day today insisting that they weren't actually threatening to call CPS. They refused to understand why we were both so upset and kept trying to turn the blame back around on us, saying we weren't listening to them and the CPS comments weren't a big deal. This unfortunately fits a larger pattern of them trying to control our lives and being angry or disappointed or annoyed that we just have very different lives. The fact my spouse and I are very equal and independent people is a constant issue they keep dancing around. Nothing about us is traditional, and despite what they claim, they don't love that about us. Most disagreements or attempts to control us come from these differences and why we should actually act more like them. Also, to address some questions in the comments, we do live in a rural area controlled by the county, not the city. There are no restrictions on animals as long as they are healthy and not exotic. We have a lot of dogs for a city, but out here, people aren't even surprised when we say we have 6. Many of them have at least 3 and then a variety of other animals on their respective properties. We just didn't want other animals as we've been involved in dog rescue for several years.
Yeah.
Our household operates more like a small farm than a typical suburban household. My spouse and my own work schedules allow our household to operate the way it does. I won't go into specifics, but I will say the way it's arranged allows one or the other of us to care for our child at home versus putting them in daycare. This also makes daily cleaning a lot more feasible, along with my spouse and I being very equal partners. And we have a second update.
All right.
Have we reopened the door here? Is that what the second update is? I don't know. It was a
Let's find out.
Update number 2. I genuinely appreciated the outside perspectives, including those who rightfully question our sanity and the legality of owning 6 dogs and still fostering. LOL. I will say many people do not have reputable sources for determining the number of animals you're allowed to own. Just as an FYI, my state, county, and local city do not have a limit on dogs, and I do not live in any of the states mentioned by commenters in the first post. I assist with an animal nonprofit in addition to the fostering, so I am aware of any current and proposed changes to ownership laws for my area. I also live well outside the nearest city limits and couldn't imagine having this many animals and not having some dedicated land for them. I freaking love you, OP. None of them are Great Danes, but only one of them is a quote-unquote small breed of dog. My spouse, child, and myself are no contact with mother-in-law and father-in-law for the foreseeable future. They didn't call CPS, but refused to take responsibility and fell into their typical pattern of gaslighting to make my spouse and I look childish and spiteful. This unfortunately follows the pattern of behavior that made my spouse start therapy shortly before the birth of our child. They frequently say mean, hurtful, or borderline derogatory comments and then turn around and deny ever saying them. If we have proof, such as texts, they'll insist they were joking or they misunderstood the context, even though the context is pretty effing clear. A notable example is mother-in-law telling my spouse they needed to keep me under control when my spouse and I were planning our wedding because basically every aspect of the wedding was non-traditional, and this was a huge offense to my mother-in-law. This is despite the fact that my mother-in-law is not even religious. Nothing about our wedding was scandalous or offensive, and my partner and I decided on every aspect of our wedding together. She, to this day, tells us it was a joke or that she didn't actually say it, just depending on her mood.
Interesting.
Was it a joke or was it literally, you
Yeah.
gotta pick one? Did you say it or did you not?
Those are mutually exclusive.
Despite her ranting to other family members about it and everyone else remembering it as being completely sincere, she will pull that stuff. It's easier to see this now that my spouse and I aren't dealing with the immediate after effects of the CPS comment to my family. It took us by surprise, and it hurt so much this time because we genuinely thought my spouse's parents had changed. I was really trying to overlook the past so my child and future children have a good relationship with them. The fact, this time around, they basically said that they don't like us because we're too different from them and too hard to understand was a really bitter pill to swallow. Maybe it's the fact that my family is so close, but I don't understand how someone can say that and in the next breath say they love us entirely. We're not even that out there or extremist in any sense. We get along with my huge extended family, and they come in just about every shade, flavor, and personality under the sun. I can't let my child or future children think love from their family is conditional on them being carbon copies of anyone, including their grandparents. Apparently, minor differences in how we spend our free time. They like binge-watching TV and staying in bed and breakfast. We like board games and volunteering, for example. And our personal style choices is too much for them to handle. Despite being self-proclaimed feminists and staunchly non-religious, apparently men still aren't supposed to have long hair or wear nail polish, and women should wear makeup, or at least that's how their children and their spouses are supposed to be. I guess the best news out of this is we are now closer with the rest of my spouse's family. They were horrified about what mother-in-law and father-in-law said, and even more appalled by the gaslighting after. We weren't expecting the support, and we're trying to prepare ourselves from being cut off from everyone, but we are so grateful that's not the case. And by the way, you can be grateful that we have full episodes with stories like this on Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts. Wherever you listen to podcasts, just search OK Storytime, and you can listen to 1,250 plus hours of a yapping. I have grown to love my spouse's family even more than I already did, and I'm so thankful that my spouse does have love and support from their side of the family. While my parents adore my spouse as their own, I know it means a lot to my spouse to have their own family members too. Not to mention our few close but dear friends that have been eager for us to have kids so they can be the best aunts and uncles they possibly can. I don't wish any ill on my in-laws, and I'm almost sad to say our lives have been calmer and happier without them in it. Can't control their choices, and I can't stand to let them hurt my spouse any longer or possibly start doing the same things to our child. They can make their own choices and live with those consequences.
Wow. There you go.
Yes. I love this philosophy.
Yeah.
Because it's like, truly, it's like people are going to make their own choices, and then people are going to have to deal with their consequences.
Exactly.
It's like you cannot control their choices. You cannot control their reactions. All that you can do is control your truth and the way you operate.
Exactly.
Wha-bam.
Wha-bam.
Nice. But that is the end of that story.
My sister-in-law excluded me from her wedding, so I took back my wedding favors. Divorced. October 1st, 2024. Time sensitive since the wedding is this Friday. I was asked by my mother-in-law a while ago to make 2 cakes for my sister-in-law's wedding. From my understanding, these will not be the main dessert or the actual wedding cake they cut for photos, just extra cakes for wedding guests with food allergies. I myself have a dairy allergy, and my husband's goddaughter, who is the flower girl, has celiac. By the way, this comes from Open to Advice 3456. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So she asked me to make gluten-free cakes and a dairy-free cake. Baking is not my main job, but I did go to culinary school, and I occasionally bake out of my home on the side and have made wedding cakes before. OP's got a hobby or a thriving side business.
A cake person.
My mother-in-law said she would pay me to make them and buy ingredients, but she has yet to pay me anything or buy anything to my knowledge. She also has never sent me reference photos or inspo pics of how sister-in-law wants the cakes to look, which I did request. For added context, sister-in-law and I are not close anymore. We used to get along well in the beginning of my relationship with my now husband, sister-in-law's brother, but over time, we have drifted apart. My husband and I are not fans of her fiance, and that definitely has put a stain on our relationship with her, but we try to just accept the fact that if she's happy, we can be happy for her. All right, so got a little backstory here. The events of the last month have led me to not want to make cakes for her wedding anymore, but I'm wondering if it'll make me the a-hole if I don't want to make them / back out so close to the wedding. All right, so is OP the a-hole? Let's get into it. About 4 weeks ago was sister-in-law's bachelorette party. She got an Airbnb for the whole weekend for her and her bridesmaids and my mother-in-law. I was not invited to stay at the Airbnb. I was told there weren't enough beds, but was invited to be a part of the Saturday plans, and I could get my own hotel if I wanted. It was about 2 hours away from where I live, so I just decided I would drive there and back and save on a hotel. My mother-in-law calls me the morning of and basically tries to convince me it isn't worth the drive and I should just stay home, and sister-in-law would understand and would want me to be safe. Mother-in-law said she was worried about me driving alone on unfamiliar roads late at night on the way back. I said I didn't want to miss out on sister-in-law's bachelorette party. It sounds like they're trying to force you out.
Yeah, that's exactly what it
Sounds like there's a little conspiracy theory going on.
Yeah.
And said I could maybe look into getting a cheap hotel. I get all the way out there only to get a call from one of the bridesmaids.
Is this the Krusty Krab?
No, this is Patrick.
Telling me the girls talked and they weren't really comfortable hanging out with someone they don't know. After OP had gone all the way out there. That is crazy.
You at least have to tell OP the truth.
Before. And I was basically uninvited, so I drove 2 hours back home, trying not to cry the whole time. Again, these are people that asked OP to bake a cake for their wedding. I am not baking that cake. I am not baking. That is crazy.
Also, do we know did they ask to bake it for free, or was like they didn't?
I think they said they would like
pricing?
pay for ingredients or something, but so far OP has not received any payment.
No. That's doing work for free.
That's doing work for free.
Yeah.
Wow. And also TLDR, to catch everyone up to speed, a woman's sister-in-law excluded her from this bridal party. So seems like she might be taking back her cakes. All right. So I was very hurt by this from both my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. At the time, I thought mother-in-law was just being overly worried about me. But after the fact, I was thinking, did sister-in-law not want me there and was trying to get mother-in-law to get me to not go? Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. I wasn't sure why I was even invited if that was the case, and why if she changed her mind and didn't want me there that she couldn't have told me herself before I drove 2 hours over there. I told my husband everything, and he was so embarrassed and upset by what happened. He messaged his mom and said how upset and disappointed he was that I treated them that way, and mentioned how hurt I was by everything. She never responded to his message and didn't reach out to me either. I also never heard from sister-in-law. Flash forward to last weekend, I find out there's another batch party. I read that as Bach party. I'm like, damn, are they into they into Bach and Chopin? Another bachelor party in town planned for sister-in-law and her fiance for the family only this time. My husband was invited and told specifically not to bring anyone else that wasn't personally invited by the bride and groom. Again, this is someone that is supposed to make their cakes. Well, I never got a message or invite to the party, so I assume I wasn't invited, and I'm still hurt I was uninvited to the last one. I tell my husband that he doesn't have to stay home for my sake and that it's his sister and he should go if he wants to. He was getting calls from his cousin and sister asking where he was. I didn't want to keep him from his family or somehow get blamed for him not going, so I told him to go and I'd be okay, though I was going to be very hurt for being excluded again. Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Of course you're going to be hurt. They are specifically excluding you from these like multiple parties, and this is a family-only party.
Yeah, family only, and they're like, oh, hey,
Don't bring anyone we exactly didn't intentionally
Yeah.
give an invitation to. Oh, it's like,
oh, yeah, my husband got the invitation, but I didn't, so
My question is, are they inviting other significant others of families?
They
Almost certainly.
Almost certainly.
Well, he goes, and when he gets there, he tells me that his ex-girlfriend was there. Oh, do you see what I'm seeing?
I'm seeing what you're seeing,
Tell me what
brother.
you see.
This is the classic.
Classic. It's a classic.
Parents don't approve of the spouse, so they're going to find you a new one.
Yep.
The one that
They're trying to set you back up with your ex. Well, he goes and he gets back and tells me that his ex-girlfriend was there. I was a mess after that, knowing that an ex-girlfriend of my husband was invited to my sister-in-law's second bachelor party meant for family, and I wasn't. Again, this is a bachelor party meant only for family. The ex-girlfriend is not family.
Yep.
I didn't even know sister-in-law and husband's ex were friends. This was a whole new level of pain and confusion and seemed very intentionally spiteful or extremely coincidental. All of a sudden and out of the blue, I am shocked and at a loss for words. I truly don't understand what I could have done to cause his family to turn on me and be so hurtful and not care about my feelings. My relationship with my sister-in-law has been a little strained lately, but not to this degree. And it was something I was hoping we could work on and fix. I wonder why it was strained. It is hard for me to imagine coming back from this. And up until now, I thought we had a pretty good relationship with mother-in-law. I sent a message to her over the weekend about how hurt I am by her and her family. And as I'm writing this, she still has yet to respond. I don't want to back out on the cake order. Girl, you could back out on that cake order.
Beep, beep, beep. Get out of there.
So close to the wedding, but I also barely even want to go to the wedding anymore, let alone bake and decorate 2 different cakes for it. I'm worried if I don't do the cakes, they will hold it against me and make me look like the bad guy.
Duh.
I don't want to damage the relationships even further, but I'm struggling with so many emotions with this. It's a battle of self-respect and also guilt of backing out and leaving them hanging right before the big day. So Reddit, would I be the a-hole if I don't make cakes for my sister-in-law's wedding? What do we think, John? What should OP do?
Dude, I mean, she definitely is so not obligated to make
those
this cake.
cakes. Yeah.
I do see what she's saying, though, because they could it's easily be like, oh, yeah, OP promised to make us the cakes, and then she just, like, totally
And she
pulled
ruined
out.
it. She ruined the wedding.
And it's like, what are you going to do? Go around and, like, no, you know what I mean? So it's so easy to spin it against her.
Also, the cakes are, one is for her and one is for a niece, right?
Yeah, what was this? Yeah, what was the second cake for?
Because I think it was for
Like
the niece who had
goddaughter or something? I don't
celiac.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
it
if
was-
that's the case, what I'm going to do, 1, not going to make the cake for me. 2, I'll probably make a cupcake or a few cupcakes for the celiac, goddaughter or child. And then just be like, there you go.
I'm not making any cakes, bro.
Well, no,
I do it for the kids.
I see what Riley's
Not
saying.
making any cakes.
For basically like, hey, look, I am the good person. Look, I made the specific cake for the person with celiac disease because like, hey, this was an innocent person. I had promised to do this, but
Not even a cake, just cupcakes. Something that they don't
Cupcakes.
feel left out for.
yeah.
And it's a kid. If it was adult, they could have figured it out. But
it's like, it's
You're not obligated. To do
you're not
and making 2
obligated
extra
to do
cakes for
it.
just food allergies.
Yeah, and you're not. I don't think like OP even feels welcome at this. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm also team like don't go to the wedding.
Wait,
Like,
so she has to make. Wait, what are the 2 cakes? It's a celiac cake, and then what's the other cake?
the main wedding cake, I believe.
But is it?
Oh, no, it's
Was
not
there a
the main wedding
dietary
cake. It's not the main
restriction?
Wedding cake.
Is there a dietary restriction for the other one?
Bobby Bot, what are the dietary restrictions?
Bobby Bot does not exist.
Where are
Wait, let me
you?
talk to him. Bobby Bots, what are the dietary restrictions? Bobby Bots, what are the dietary restrictions?
Let us.
I think we need to call it Madagascar. Can we change its name?
Yeah, it's saying Bobby Bots, what are the dietary restrictions? Bobby Bot.
No, dude. All right. Well,
She ain't
Bobby
singing.
Bot,
It's
no.
registering.
I don't think so.
What is my purpose?
Pass the butter.
So Reddit, would I be the a-hole? No, you would not be the a-hole. I honestly think like don't be the a-hole to yourself.
Yes.
And that was the internet's consensus. Don't make cakes for them. Notably, comments absolutely make the cakes and stay home with your husband and eat them yourselves. Send pics of you two eating them for added zing. And another commenter says, not the a-hole, but mother-in-law and sister-in-law are definitely the a-hole. And I'll see you next Tuesday. What the F? Don't you dare make the cakes or even attend. I would make the hubby stay home too. I don't think you should make the hubby stay home.
Yeah, no. This is I wouldn't do that either.
And the reason is like that's family. Like he can make his own choice.
Yeah. You can do anything that you want with yourself, but as soon as you start imposing on others, that's when it's can get dicey.
And another commenter says, absolutely do not under any circumstances bake those cakes. Uninvite yourself from the wedding and do not be around them anymore. They have shown you their opinion of you, so now you move accordingly. Also, let your husband handle his family. If he wants to stay home and support you, let him. Don't reason with him to get him to go somewhere. Let him make his own decisions, not the a-hole. And another commenter says, if you make the cakes, we will be very angry. Another commenter says, I would message the mother-in-law tomorrow. Hi, mother-in-law, as you have not provided the supplies necessary to bake the cakes, nor communicate with me any further regarding your request to bake them. I assume you found someone else to fulfill your order. This works for me perfectly as I am no longer willing or able to make the cakes on or before Friday. Enjoy the wedding. I will not be attending. I won't even trust that I actually even want the cakes. You probably show up and they'd feign looking confused and make you take them back home again. They're trash people. Don't let their trash actions or trash thoughts about you bring you down. You don't want or need people like this in your life. As you've said, you've done nothing wrong and they're off acting like lunatics. Tell your husband to deal with them from now on. Let them give you the ick and leave them in the dust. And we got an update.
I'm a little afraid.
I would tell them, hey, like I can't make the cakes anymore and I won't be able to go to the wedding.
Yes, I would say that, because then there's innocent bystanders
That
are involved, and it's like, all right, I'll let you know, and now there's nothing they can say about you that wouldn't be true. You know?
Exactly. But here we go. Let's get in to this update. About 7 months later. So when I posted the original thread, this is April 20th, 2025. This is like 3 days ago.
Oh, snap.
Oh my God. Before it was taken down by the mods, I had a lot of people telling me not to make the cakes. I'm sorry to say I probably disappointed a lot of the OG responders. I didn't end up making the cakes. I did, however, make a dozen cupcakes. I found it to be a compromise I was comfortable with. Riley called it.
Called it, dude.
Let's freaking go. I was very conflicted, but ultimately would have felt too guilty not making anything for the wedding, mostly because I was providing dessert options for those with food allergies, and having a food allergy myself, I know how hard it is to go to big events and not be able to eat anything. Being a baker, it is especially disheartening to see everyone else enjoy dessert and not be able to have a safe treat to enjoy as well. I wanted to be sure my husband's goddaughter had a gluten-free dessert. So I decided to make 12 vegan, nut-free, gluten-free cupcakes to accommodate all/most allergens and dietary restrictions. I asked my mother-in-law if she still wanted me to make them, and she said yes. I said I would need payment up front, and she would need to provide the vegan butter and gluten-free flour. I severely undercharged for my baking, so I felt like it was a fair ask. She had my husband's other parent or mother-in-law too. Husband has 2 moms. This will be relevant later. Drop off the ingredients and payment on Wednesday evening before the wedding. Keep in mind, the wedding was Friday. So OP has literally like a day for this.
The tightest of windows
to
make this work.
Tight, yeah!
So with my full-time job schedule, I only had Thursday night to make the cupcakes and missed the rehearsal dinner. Not that we were planning on making it anyway, to be honest. Sister-in-law and her now husband didn't go to our rehearsal dinner because he didn't like anything on the menu. Wow. So we were already leaning towards not going to that. Flash forward to the wedding. I told my husband that I wanted to go, at least to the ceremony, because it was his family after all, and I wanted to go for his sake. I told him going into it that I was only there to support him, and that I was not intending to discuss any of the conflict or tension or prior events, and didn't want to bring any drama to his sister's wedding day. I truly did not want to take away from her day. After the ceremony, I go into the reception hall to find the dessert table and drop off the cupcakes. And lo and behold, there were 3 effing dozen other cupcakes purchased from a gluten-free specialty bakery on the table, and no room for my cupcakes to go.
Okay, this feels like intentional. This feels like, we're gonna show her. We're gonna go buy the specialty
so much too. She's just trying to do her best. She's giving too much. OP, you're giving so much at the expense of your own happiness.
Yes,
I think you need to prioritize yourself. You're being the a-hole to yourself.
Yes, this is the moment where it's like, all right, hard realization. I cannot keep doing this kind of stuff for them.
Yeah. Your poison tonic. What is CPP? She said, shaking my head, she suffers from CPP. What's
Chronic people pleasing.
Chronic people pleasing.
We made that up.
Yep.
Dakota.
We made that up.
Yeah, Dakota
Chronic people pleasing. Yep. CPP.
Pretty good.
Chronic people pleasing for sure. I started shaking. I tossed the box of cupcakes on top of the table and went to go find my husband. I found him staring at the seating chart. He said, "Did you see who we were seated with?" Took a look at the chart and was shocked but not yet surprised to see that we were sat at the farthest table in the back and not with any member of his family except his donor dad. Now, a little backstory / context. As I mentioned before, my husband and sister-in-law have 2 moms. My husband and sister-in-law have 2 different donor dads. So sister-in-law has no relation, blood or otherwise, with my husband's donor dad. My husband has never had the intent or interest to meet his donor dad despite pressure from his moms. His DD, donor dad, was an acquaintance of his parents, so they did know him and would send him cards and pictures other the years, but my husband never wanted to meet him. He never felt the need to because he already had 2 parents. Mother-in-law did pressure us to invite donor dad to our wedding the previous year. I left the decision up to my husband, and he chose not to. So back to the wedding. I was
fuming.
Yep.
As you should be.
As you should be.
As you should be. As if I wasn't already shaking enough. It's one thing to hurt me, but to mess with my husband? Heck no. I could not believe his own family would do this to him. No one should be blindsided like that and forced into meeting their donor dad when they specifically expressed that they do not care to. And if husband wanted to meet his donor dad, it should be on his terms. It should not be sprung on him at his sister's wedding. And we're sat at the same table with him and not with any of his actual family. But wait, it gets better.
Oh, no.
Guess who sat at the family table?
No, don't tell me.
The effing ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
I seriously cannot make this stuff up. I was floored and absolutely jaw-dropped at their audacity. I didn't care about the bachelorette parties or the dang cupcakes anymore. My main focus was my husband. He was shaking too and clearly distressed and getting very anxious, nearing an attack. I asked him what he wanted to do and reminded him that I was only there for him and will stick by him no matter what he decides to do. I asked if he ever wanted to leave and go home. I asked if he wanted to go get dinner somewhere else and we can come back for the rest of the reception later. He said he needed a drink. We left the cocktail hour and went to the hotel lobby bar, same building as the wedding/reception. And a friend of ours was working and we immediately vented to her and told her what was going on. After we had a drink or two to calm down, I again asked my husband what he wanted to do. He wanted me to go in and check if his donor dad was there or not, and if he wanted me to see if someone would switch seats with us. Yeah, again, that's like a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
I feel like that's completely, as was said, completely unfair. So much of this is
It's
unfair.
so obviously intentional. I feel like even going back to the original thing, if they didn't tell Pete until she had driven 2 hours to that party, like this all feels intentional.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah, Ming Ming says, walk the F out. Actual Drop Sarah says, just walk out, man. Sophie says, I've been accused of being a hothead, but most smart people know better not F with me. And Kimberly finds his proxy rage is the most volatile of rages. Someone's about to meet Jesus, I think. All right, so I went in and scouted the area. I didn't see him. I know what he looks like only from pictures on Facebook. We went in and sat down at the assigned table full of strangers right before the dinner was about to start. Then thankfully, a couple that my husband knew asked us if we wanted to join them at their table since there were open seats. We gladly joined them, so at least we were by someone we knew. That's when we saw they had special cups that said something along the lines of, my name is blank. My drinks are on the bride and groom. Wait, what?
Like it's a little nameplate or a little like thing on their cup, like a.
Oh, my name is blank. My drinks are on the bride and groom. Like the drinks are all free, I guess.
Right.
Something
on
like
the
that.
cups, yeah.
And we're like, oh, that's interesting. But this couple was an older couple that used to babysit my husband's sister-in-law. So not family, but family friends. We looked around and saw that the bridal party and family members had those cups and they were personalized. We, of course, were never given, told, or offered ones. But guess who did have one? Right again, the ex-girlfriend.
And they didn't even. That's like her brother.
Okay, but really quick,
Does he have one? Yeah.
this has to be intentional at this point.
Yep.
But why? Why? Like, there has to be a reason. This sister-in-law is pissed.
Yep.
And I don't think it's for no reason. There has to be a reason. It could be a dumb reason, but there has to be a reason. I feel like we need to get curious about what the heck is going on.
I think you're absolutely right. I very, very much want to know where was the. Again, it could be a stupid thing that they just use to do all this bull crap out of, but there's something happened.
There's something stinky. Well, just another slight against me/us. And to be clear, we were not expecting free drinks or to be on the bride and groom's tab or anything, but the fact that we were not only excluded, but basically castaways from the family table, hidden in the back, almost ambushed with an awkward AF dinner, telling me they still wanted me to make cupcakes when they had already ordered them from another bakery in town, and everything else, we were just at a loss for words. We tried to make the best of it and just enjoy the night despite it all. We danced with his goddaughter, got really wasted thanks to lovely and supportive bartenders at the lobby bar, and I made sure mother-in-law saw me give one of my cupcakes to the goddaughter. I took the rest of the cupcakes and gave them to the lobby bartenders since they treated us more like family. Mother-in-law did try to come up to me and talk during the reception. She asked if I thought things would ever be okay between us again and if we could get back to the way things were before, but I held true to my word and told her that this was not the time or place to talk things out, that this is sister-in-law's day, and I did not want to take away from that and make it about me. But that she made it very clear to me where I stand and that she does not consider me family and left it at that. By the way, we consider you family.
Aww.
And if you want to snuggle up in the familial circle, check out our podcast by searching OK Storytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Just search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update, but oh my God, I feel like they have made it very clear where OP stands.
Yep.
I think listen.
Yep. And when people tell you who they are, when they tell the truth, don't ignore it.
Don't ignore it. But oh, she's Louise Trapeze. It's I feel bad for Obi.
Yes.
I feel really bad.
This is a terrible situation. They
are clearly
doing this intentionally.
Yeah. But John,
But Sam,
we got a little bit more of the story.
Oh, baby.
Should we get into it? So after the wedding, we basically went low to no contact with them. Mother-in-law, too, tried to facilitate a family meeting with everyone, but that has yet to happen. It's been 7 months, and we still haven't talked. Zero contact from the sister-in-law. I want to know why, like, what was the falling out that they had?
Yeah.
Mother-in-law has tried reaching out several times, but has never truly apologized or owned up for anything. Just that she's sorry for the rift between us and that she was too hurt and basically victimizing herself. So that sums it up. Hopefully the update was worth the wait. And comments by OP. Not that it should matter which parent they came from, but mother-in-law 2 was the birth mom for both. They used different baby juice donors for each kids though. Husband was a rainbow baby and actually grew up the golden boy, but from what I've seen, they've overcompensated that now by enabling sister-in-law and never telling her no. Why mother-in-law felt hurt? She was hurt by our low contact after the bachelorette party. Yeah, I was expecting it to be a bit tense and a bit awkward, but it was truly worse than I could have imagined. Still glad, though, so we could witness the true colors and know exactly where we stand in the family. And I have a clean conscience. I can now wash my hands. And about the donor dad, we never saw him. I don't think he ever showed up. I'm not sure why he was even invited or would say he was coming to the wedding of someone he has no relation to and when he doesn't know the bride and groom. Still unclear if he was actually supposed to be there or if it was some cruel psychological abuse tactic. If mother-in-law number 2 knows what's going on, I'm sure she only knows sister-in-law/mother-in-law number 1's version of events, and I'm not sure how they spun it. Mother-in-law number 2 and husband are very similar in their conflict avoidance and peacekeeper tendencies. I've had to sweep a lot of my feelings under the rug with his family before, and I'm done doing that. I'm not cleaning up the mess they made. Husband has been very supportive partner. That's good.
There we go.
Through this, and his family is on my side and has my back as I have his. He just tends to avoid hard conversations and shuts down/gets quiet when people are upset. It's something we are working on. I've suggested couple counseling so we can both learn better ways to communicate and deal with conflict moving forward. There's definitely things we have to unlearn too. I want to break the cycle and not carry on the toxic traits that we may have picked up from our parents in past relationships so they don't affect our marriage. And he's open to it. As for the friend, yes, she is a real one, a great friend to both me and my husband, and we're very thankful to have her in our lives. And yeah, things had been good with mother-in-law prior. We'd often get lunch, dinner, or drinks, just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
And talk frequently. I thought we were actually getting closer than ever before, but it all unraveled so quickly. It was quite the blind side. I was mostly hurt by her sudden lack of communication and that she shut me out and pushed me aside so easily. I fully understand that sister-in-law is her daughter and it was her wedding. I was not expecting my feelings to be her priority by any means, but just to be shown a little empathy perhaps. Show a little understanding or acknowledgement of my feelings. Offer any sort of explanation. Maybe. And that is where it ends.
Wow.
That is where that ends.
They started bad and they stayed bad.
They stayed bad.
They were consistent.
They were consistent. This is an unfortunate end.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? I think OP kind of learned where everyone stood.
Yeah, and can distance herself.
And can distance herself, and that will lead to having a better life versus like not really knowing and keep getting all these slights.
Yeah. I think OP will end in a better position than she started.
I believe so.
But that is where that story ends, and I think we believe we have another story for you. Unfortunately, I do have to leave, but we got another story, so we got someone else coming in.
Oh, yes.
Take my place and give you some deliciousness, some nutritiousness, and some wistfulness. Inquisitiveness. She's coming on the stream. She's on the way. But without further ado, the changing of the guard. You know her from this show. You know her as your queen. Without further ado, your worm queen, Sophia.
It is the queen. She has arrived. The best named member, says Sophia Gangloff Callan.
It's true.
It is true.
It's true.
No one can deny it or debate it.
Sophia's the best name.
It is unanimously decided.
Yeah, all of the Sophies have gotten into parliament and voted.
They voted unanimously.
That Sophia is the best.
Sweeping legislation has swept our nation. Sophias are in, everyone else is out.
Out of here.
That's right.
The Talmud says, wait, isn't Sophia wearing Sam's shirt?
This is my shirt.
This is my shirt that I got from a thrift store.
Come on. Show some respect.
Any of Sam's fashion sense as of late was stuff that I told him to wear 2 years ago.
Whoa.
Now he's hopping on.
Whoa. So he's just kind of biting your style.
Yes.
He's late to the
He's late to the
24
party.
months late to the party.
Truly.
That's almost as much time as it took for me to get birthed.
It's true. Also true.
Wow.
That's the elephant gestation period.
That's right. Yeah, dude, me and the elephants.
And John
are
and the
locked in.
elephants. Yeah.
We're locked in. But ladies and gentlemen, we're also locked in with this next story. So without further ado, I used to have a great... That's the beginning of the title, right, Riley? Yes, sir.
Oh, I thought you were saying something.
Excuse me, was you saying something?
Oh, no, I was...
Josephine says, Sophia has a great name. It's
She has
the
a great
best
name.
It's better than China.
Best name ever, better than China.
Better than any name.
Sophia. That's a great country. I would
It's a
visit.
great country. It's the capital of Bulgaria. Everyone loves it.
Super Idol, the show, the may need the 10.
All right, are we ready?
My wife and I are adopting our foster daughter, and my in-laws are furious.
Well, they can mind their own beeswax.
My wife and I have two biological teenage sons, one older and one younger than our foster daughter. We have been fostering kids for many years, where the goal was always to reunify the kids with their parents, which has happened successfully each time until now. By the way, this comes from UFinPin. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So 2 years ago, we took in our foster daughter, now mid-teens. She had been through a lot and was labeled a troubled kid and not adoptable. I won't go into details, but the issue in the matter is that there are images of her going around amongst a certain community from before we took her in. We were informed by authorities about all of this before, so it's not like this came as surprise after we got to know her. I'm not going to lie, it has not been easy. Our families have seen us struggle, but almost everyone has been super supportive. The first 5 to 6 months were the hardest. She didn't trust us. She was angry at the world, rightfully so. And then one random night, I got up in the middle of the night and unintentionally ended up scaring her crapless, and she had a full-blown panic attack. She was okay after a little while, but it was like something clicked for her that night. It was like she realized that we were on her side, and we watched her change from this angry and sad little girl to the ambitious young teenager we know today. It started with her telling us thank you for everything we did, small things like driving her to practice, and she said it with a smile on her face. It was so amazing to see her feeling better and not so lonely anymore. From there, everything changed. She made new friends and got a lot closer to my sons, especially the older one. Her grades went from failing multiple classes to getting straight A's, not because we were nagging her, but because she wanted to in terms of the grades. Each member of our household has developed a good and strong relationship with her, and the love we have for this girl cannot be put into words. We've reached that cosmic connection. She still struggles with a few things, which is totally fair after all she's been through, but she's working on it, and we are supporting her in every way we can. Overall, she's doing amazing. She's so strong, and I'm very proud of her. We made the decision to fight the system to change their verdict from not adoptable to available for conditional adoption because we want to commit to her for life. We want to adopt her. Last month, we got the call and they changed their verdict, and we sent in our papers that they were already ready, and things are looking very promising. The thing is, we haven't told her yet. She knows that she's now adoptable, but we haven't asked her if she wants us to officially adopt her yet. My wife and I have talked to our sons about it, and they are fully on board. We talked to my parents, our brothers and sisters, and their spouses. All of them have a good relationship with our daughter, and every single one of them is so supportive of our decision and willing to fully welcome our daughter into our family. Then there is the wife's parents. Mother-in-law hasn't been awful, I guess, but maybe it's because I'm comparing what she said to what father-in-law said. We told them about our plan and asked them about their opinion. Mother-in-law asked if we were sure our daughter doesn't quite fit in. My wife and I didn't understand at all, since our daughter has a very similar personality as we and our sons do. But it turns out she's concerned about the visual side of it all. She's clearly not our biological child, and people will start asking questions. The thing is, my wife, myself, and our sons are very tall. Our daughter is not. She's tiny compared to us and has a similar eye color, but not the exact same. All 5 of us have the same skin tone and colored and textured hair. Not that I think it matters at all, but the stupidity of it is unreal. Apart from height, she could pass as our biological daughter, so I'm starting to think this is a lame excuse for something else. I told her that people would ask questions no matter what, Because even if our daughter was a spitting image of my wife, it's not like she suddenly gave birth to a teenager 2 years ago. And the answer to any question is very simple.
We adopted
She's
her.
adopted.
Yeah.
Ta-da. It's not like it could ever become a secret now, so I don't get it. Mother-in-law didn't say much after that, but it was very clear she was not on board. Father-in-law hadn't said anything, but he didn't seem excited at all. I asked for his opinion, and he just stared at us for a minute, and then he said, "Don't do this to yourself and our family." It's safe to say I was confused, but I had no idea what to say. After a few more seconds, he went off. He started talking about their family name and didn't want that to be ruined by a little or, and what would people think if they saw these images floating around on the internet. I was stunned. My wife couldn't find any words either and started crying before she just left. I didn't say a word while father-in-law finished ranting, but 1,000 thoughts went through my head. Eventually, he stopped talking, and I still had trouble finding any words to say. I just told him, "You are sick." And I left too. My wife is destroyed after hearing what her father thinks about our daughter. We have no idea how they know about these images, as we haven't told anyone about it.
That's what I was gonna ask. I was gonna say, how does he know? Icky. I would not want him. I would not want him around any children.
No. I'm 100% certain my wife didn't tell them, as their relationship is not that great. My wife is closer to my mother than her own, so that wouldn't make sense. We have tried to hide this from the kids since this happened, but my older son sensed something was very wrong and asked about it. I told him our conversation with the in-laws about adopting our daughter didn't go very well and they weren't supportive. He wanted to know why. I told him I couldn't tell him, that it was serious, and promised to talk to him about it in a few years when he's an adult. And I assured him that our daughter didn't do anything wrong, our plans haven't changed, and that it's father-in-law who is being unreasonable. My son told me that our daughter told him a few months ago that she didn't think the in-laws liked her very much, especially father-in-law. This happened 2 days ago, and we haven't spoken to them since. I'm not sure I even want to try, to be honest. For me, this is going to be no contact worthy. I want nothing to do with them. I for sure
I think after those
think
comments,
no contact.
I think you cannot come. Like, this isn't a thing that you can talk about. You know, this isn't a thing that you can communicate and find some resolution. He made disgusting comments about a child and has shown that he is not worthy of being around you, or definitely not your daughter.
My wife is in pieces and has mentioned that she doesn't want them in her life after this. This has tainted our adoption experience for sure. I'm afraid, though, that if we piss off father-in-law even more, that he will start talking to our other family about these images. I do realize he will look like a pig in everyone's eyes, but I would like to spare our daughter from everyone knowing about what's out there. I usually talk to my mother about heavy stuff in life, but I cannot talk to her about this without feeling like I'm exposing my daughter by telling my mother more than I want to for my daughter's sake. Internet strangers, I have no idea what to do from here. How do I go about the situation with father-in-law without creating more mess than absolutely necessary for my daughter? There is an edit, but I feel like regardless of what the father-in-law will do if you cut him out, he's going to do more harm by having him in. So I don't know if you can control what he does, but I think keep him far from your family and far from your daughter.
Well, I think it's just like, you don't necessarily have to have a conversation with him where you're like, yeah, I'm never going to see you. And maybe that, pisses him off more. You can just stop talking.
Yeah, just stop talking.
Just like, don't.
I would go very low contact and never bring your daughter around him. Edit to add, just to be very clear. There's no doubt in our minds that we still want to ask our daughters for permission to adopt her. Our relationship with our daughter will not change no matter what father-in-law does or does not do. I realized from the first couple of comments that it became unclear after the father-in-law incident. Sorry about that. By the way, you should never be sorry about listening to full episodes of this podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update 4 hours later, actually. So I'm glad to see I'm not the only one possibly / hopefully reading too much into this. I think you have verified I'm not crazy. Wife and I had a brief talk after I posted and decided to talk to her brothers and sisters first about father-in-law's comments. It'll be a hard conversation, but it needs to happen. Before I could get to it, my wife told me she wants to report the situation with her father, knowing about the images of our daughter. Right now, we don't know what that looks like, but it has simply not been possible for him to gain access to this knowledge legally. There is a culprit for sure, and we will leave that to authorities for now. Thank you for giving me a reality check, and thank you for your encouragement. We need it right now. And that is where that story ends.
I used to have a great relationship with my mother-in-law until I got married.
Well, you shouldn't have ever gotten married.
Ooh. I went no contact with my mother-in-law, 71 female. I, 38 female, used to have a great relationship with my mother-in-law. We'll call her Karen.
What's her real name, though?
Karen.
Okay.
Before we met, my husband was living with his mother to save money to purchase a home and wanted to help out since she's on a fixed income and was struggling to manage her own finances. Karen was consistently behind on her bills, taxes, etc. By the way, this comes from both Air 9229, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So my husband and I started dating in mid-2022. We met online, spoke for a few weeks, and then we met in person. From then on, we spent every
Single day together.
That's a lot of days.
Every single day.
You guys are really into each other.
Sophia, there was not one day they missed.
That's kind of crazy. I don't think there's anyone that I've ever seen every day.
24/7, not even Sam?
No, honestly, definitely not Sam. He's always going on trips.
There is someone you've seen 24/7.
Me.
You. That's right.
In the mirror. True.
So I see you. Now, from then on, we spent every day together. Prior to meeting, my husband and I were both in the midst of getting divorced from toxic partners. And if I'm being honest, while neither of us were ready to begin another relationship at the time, we were two broken people who healed each other, and we bonded on that. I met Karen on Mother's Day 2022. She seemed like a nice woman and appeared very accepting. She welcomed me into her home, and she welcomed my dog, who admittedly was wild and out of control at times because my ex did not take the time to train her, and I work a full-time job. Things were great. We spent a lot of time together with her, going out to dinner and inviting her to family events with my family, and everyone seemed to get along. We went to weekly events on weekends with her and always tried to include her in things since she lived alone and wanted to make her feel less lonely.
That's nice.
Sweet.
In theory.
In theory. But in June of 2024, my now husband, 48 male, proposed.
That's nice.
In theory.
Or is it? She appeared happy for us and excited that we were choosing to spend the rest of our lives together. Fast forward to August/September 2024. We asked her to move into our apartment with us.
Terrible idea.
Could be bad.
I see you.
As she was having some medical issues, we later realized this was attention-seeking behavior because she was lonely and we live a very busy life. Sophia might be predicting the future over here.
She's going to get really involved in your relationship.
Oh, God.
She's going to third wheel that.
Yeah, mom wants in, okay? Her house was in less than ideal shape, and there were some serious issues with it that we assumed were causing her health issues. We invited her out to dinner one night and asked her to move in. While emotional, she accepted. Karen moved in the following day. That's fast. We were planning to get married with immediate family only in October of 2024 for personal reasons and planned to have a larger wedding with our extended family and friends in October of 2025. When she moved in, we were in the midst of planning our small wedding, and I was excited to have someone to plan with. For context, my mother and I don't speak, and we haven't in years. That's a story for another day. Karen was settling in, and about a week after she moved in, she had told us she purchased an outfit for our wedding. She brought it in to show us, and Karen had bought some white shorts, short shorts, a white button-up shirt, and a crap-colored brown knitted tank top that looked like it was something out of Madonna's wardrobe.
Why? Wait, what is this for?
This is, I believe, Karen's outfit to the wedding.
The wedding outfit?
I believe this is Karen's outfit to the wedding.
So not only is she wearing white to the wedding, she's wearing short shorts.
And a tank top.
And a tank top?
And the knitting literally went in a circular pattern leading up to her nipples and had fringe on the bottom.
Where did she get this from?
This was absolutely something out of the junior section at Walmart.
Well, there you go, I guess. If anyone really wants that top.
This is crazy.
Yeah,
what do we think about this, Sophia?
I think this is
what do you, your mother-in-law shows you the outfit for your wedding, your response?
Ooh, I go, wow.
Wow, that's really something.
I think we were thinking that we would go in a different direction. Maybe like formal attire because the wedding is formal.
No, I get hot. I like my short shorts and I like my tank top with the knitted thing over it.
Well, maybe we do shorts underneath the dress.
No, I'm hot. I'm an old.
You're out of the wedding.
Oh, you're so mean.
And that's how you do it.
I see. Chat, do you agree? Comment below. But we're going to keep going here. So me, being non-confrontational, just said, oh, okay, that looks nice.
Girl, be a little bit more confrontational.
That looks nice.
That looks nice.
Also, George and Elise says, Madonna taking strays. That's so true.
Toki says, does she think she's going to Woodstock?
Yeah, that what I'm imagining is very much giving a Woodstock vibe.
Yep.
Later that night, we all went to bed, and I talked to husband and asked him if we could sit down with his mother and ask her not to wear white to our wedding. Rather than being straight up with Karen because she tends to interrupt everything negatively, I mentioned that my mom and grandmother were looking for dresses for the wedding, and I'd like to help her pick something different. I asked her to be our something blue and suggested a dusty blue dress. Dusty blue? That sounds bad.
No, it's just like a type of blue.
Dusty?
Yeah. It's
Riley,
not like,
can you pull up a dusty blue?
It's like I think it's like a palish blue.
Yeah. That feels like old purple
No.
or worn out yellow.
No, well, that probably is a color.
There's so
It's a lot of colors.
many colors.
There's too many colors.
It's too many colors. They're great though.
Yeah.
The colors are great. All right,
I
we're
really
gonna
enjoy
get
all
a
the
visual here.
colors. Yeah, it's like a pale blue.
All right, I'm gonna be honest, especially for our podcast listeners here. We're looking at the dusty blue dress. That is a fantastic shade of blue.
It's a very nice-
particularly for like a wedding for dresses, particularly wedding dresses.
I agree.
It is a very
Nice-
much.
It's nice blue.
It exudes wedding.
I agree.
It makes me think of like Cinderella and like you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it is a very similar blue.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
It's a very Cinderella blue.
I'm not mad, but could we call it?
John's not mad at it.
I'm not mad at the shade.
You're just mad at the name.
I'm mad at the dusty. Can we
Sure.
call it? Can we call it?
Cinderella blue.
Sophia, yes.
There we have it.
You're telling me, Sophia, are you telling me,
Yeah.
what dress do you want to buy? Do you want to buy dusty blue or do you want to buy Cinderella blue?
I want to buy Cinderella blue, John.
That's what I'm saying.
Sharks, tell me which dress do you want to buy?
For a small investment of $100 million for 1% stake.
I'm changing the name of this color.
That's right.
We're all out.
But let's get back to Karen's dress here and see if she takes the bait here. So Karen told me she already had an outfit and she won't need a dress. I don't need it.
She's like, I've already got the short shorts
I've already
and
got
the
the short
brown
shorts.
knit sweater.
Come on. Eventually, I showed her a dress she liked and we purchased for her to wear. I thought this was the end of the drama. Oh, how wrong I
She's
was.
absolutely still wearing her little outfit.
I think she's going to get a worse outfit.
Ooh.
Either wedding dress, white, or like just something even like wackier.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Uh-oh.
So we had several little things come up from that time leading up to the wedding. She would take my conditioner in the bathroom and water it down. That is so small, but that's so frustrating. That's frustrating.
Why?
She would leave messes all over the house. She would attempt to do dishes, which I appreciated. However, Karen did not make sure the dishes were truly clean. I'm neurodivergent, so when someone messes with my personal things or my routine, it is very uncomfortable for me. But being non-confrontational, it is also hard for me to speak up. Moving on to the day of our wedding, we all got up early. We all packed up all of our breakfast items that I had brought along with us, and we headed off where we planned to get married. The morning went smoothly until we arrived at the wedding location.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Uh-oh, indeed.
Where's the dress? Did anyone have eyes on the dress?
Then we said, eyes on the dress. Then we 10 forward. Do we have eyes on the dress?
Where is the dress?
We arrive, and we need to sign our marriage license and bring it to the town hall because they closed early that day, and we wanted to make sure that we got there on time. While we were signing our paperwork and getting ready to head out, Karen takes a donut covered in chocolate frosting and takes a swipe of frosting on her finger, looks at my grandfather, and licks it off of her finger with this weird, creepy look on her face as if she's trying to seduce him.
Who gave her a donut? Where'd she get the donut from? How old is grandpa?
Yeah, keep in mind, this is OP is 38, I believe.
Okay. Is this like a 90-year-old? And she's like,
This
lady's got issues.
is bad.
She's got a lot of issues.
She's 71.
Okay. She's 71.
So, how old?
How
is
old's
he?
grandpa?
Probably around that age.
80?
This is crazy. This is bananas.
Bobby
right here.
Bott. How old is grandpa?
Bobby Bott?
Bobby Bott.
Bobby
Bobby Bott.
Bott.
How old?
Bobby Bott.
Bobby Bott. How old is grandpa?
We shall
Bobby
see if it arrives. Also, saying its name more probably makes it a lot harder for it.
Wait.
Okay.
Bobby Bott.
Bobby Bott. How old is grandpa?
We shall see.
Dang
We
it,
shall
it thinks
see.
it says Bobby Bott. Bobby Bott. How old is grandpa?
Bobby Bott.
And keep going.
You see this crap? Bobby Bott. Okay.
We're gonna keep
we gotta,
on rolling.
We got to rename this thing.
Yeah, we'll rename it. So throughout the day, she continued with this flirty behavior towards him. I noticed, my parents noticed, my cousin saw it, my best friend noticed. Despite being uncomfortable, everyone bit their tongues for the day so as not to cause any additional drama. My husband and I leave to drop off our marriage license and pick up our certificates. We get back and I start getting ready with my best friend. We'll call her Ella, 36 female. Ella and I were talking and she was helping me out with my hair while I was doing my makeup, and we hear Karen in the other room telling everyone in a very look at me tone about her dress and telling them that I bought it for her, and I did not. She gave me the money and I ordered it for her using my online account. She then proceeded to go into the kitchen and clean for my grandparents, my grandmother. So just to make things crystal clear here, grandpa has, I think they're still together, but this is grandpa and grandmother together.
Yeah.
And she's trying to
get in there.
She's trying to get in there like 70-year-old swimwear.
Oh.
Yup. And my grandmother asked her several times to stop as she was making more of a mess and that it didn't need to be clean, but Karen refused to listen. Finally, we went out to the spot where the ceremony would be held. I asked Ella to take photos of us during the ceremony and a video of our vows. Ella was the only one that I had asked to take pictures, and I was aware that my dad was going to be taking drone footage. Throughout the entire ceremony, Karen was walking around us, standing behind Ella's husband, who was our officiant. To be honest, until I saw my dad's drone footage, I didn't even notice that she wasn't sitting as she should have been. So she was like out of her assigned seat.
And she was like following the drone.
Oh, maybe.
No, I think she was just behind someone.
Behind the officiant.
Yeah. Wait, how did no one notice that? You've got like the officiant and like OP and her soon-to-be husband, and then she's just like here.
She's just like standing there while they're doing their vows, like, I will love you for forever. Like, achoo. Oh, sorry. Karen's just like sneezing on their vow. Things.
What's going on there?
What's going on, Karen? You explain yourself. The following day, my grandmother called me and we talked about the wedding and Karen's behavior. I talked to my husband about it when we left to run some errands alone. A few days later, when I had calmed down, I spoke to Karen and I told her that her behavior towards my grandfather and throughout the wedding was uncalled for and inappropriate, and she denied it all.
You can't deny it. Everyone saw you do it.
You cannot
You
hide.
can't deny it.
What's inside.
Oh, Lordy.
Not today, baby.
We need to like slowly push her out of our lives here, you know?
Yeah. What's your plan? What's your approach for
Well, you try and have the conversation, and then if it keeps not working, then you say, hey, like let's try and help you find a place to live.
Yep. Hey, we've talked to you multiple times.
Yeah.
We've asked, we've shown you why it hurts us. We've asked, for these things to change. After all of these chances, you still haven't done it. We are unfortunately going to need our own space.
Yeah, and that's not even saying like I'm never going to talk to you again. That's just saying it's not living together isn't working.
I think that's a really good step because, like you said, it doesn't mean, oh, I'm not going into contact with you or anything, but it gives OP and their partner their own space back. It clearly shows the mother-in-law, like, oh yeah, they're punishing me. Like,
yeah.
She's actually having a repercussion for her negative actions, and hopefully that potentially could wake her up. Maybe.
Hopefully.
Maybe.
At the very least.
Great action to take,
yeah.
I think. But OP says, I told her that it wasn't going to happen again and that I wasn't comfortable with her going with us to family functions anymore because her actions were appalling. She continued living with us and nothing ever got better. Should have listened to Sophia's advice.
Why? Why did you let her continue living there?
Sophia's got the answers for you.
I have the answers. Just
take them.
Take them.
She started acting strange towards me and would be extra attentive to my husband. Karen was competing with me for his attention. It was always about what she did for him or what she had cleaned that day, etc., etc. We talked to her about the way she was acting, and she acted like she had no idea what we were talking about. She began secluding herself to her room and watching for my husband to come home, and she would come out of her room or she'd come out while I was at work. We told her that she was acting strangely and that she needed to seek counseling to deal with her past trauma and figure out what was going on with her mental health if she wanted to continue living with us. Okay, here we go. Get some counseling. You need to do this to continue living with us. We're making steps.
But it like none of these will actually work if you don't follow through on your,
That's true. We gotta bring down the hammer.
Yeah.
Boom. We then started the home buying process.
Ooh, so you can leave your mom in your apartment and then move to your new home.
Ditch her. Ditch that mama.
Mhm.
Get her out of your life. My husband and I were going out looking at homes, trying to find our forever home, and we did not include her in the process much. She only ever went to one showing with us because we purely needed the time away from Karen. But you brought her with you. I don't get it.
Bring her.
I am confused. We found our home, we got through the process, and in December of 2024, we moved into a home that we ensured was big enough for the three of us.
Why?
For the three of us, okay, as we fully intended on helping her and her staying with us indefinitely.
Dude.
Wow.
At this point, it's like it's a little bit your fault.
You're doing this to yourself.
Yeah, like you already know what she's like. You already know that you don't like living with her and that she's not capable of standing or of owning up to anything that she does. And you had a clean break right here.
Yep.
You could have been like, hey, we're moving into a new place. We'd love to help you find your own apartment.
And you went back on your own promise of if you don't get counseling, then you can't live with them. Where did that go?
Where did that go? And what is your husband doing in any of this? Why is he not talking to his mom?
We've only heard OP talk about her talking to the mom.
Exactly.
Where are you at, husband?
Where art thou?
Where are you? This is your mom.
Your freaking mom.
Your mom, your responsibility.
That's what they say. With great mom comes great responsibility.
That is so true. Or with
bad mom,
terrible mom
Terrible.
comes, you need to just talk to her, bro.
Yeah.
You need to just talk to her. Oh boy. So up until this point, she had not contributed financially to anything. Just keeps getting better. We still covered all of the bills, the rent, the mortgage, etc. We owed her nothing. So we moved into her home, and while moving, Karen would grab husband's things and make sure she told everyone that she grabbed his items to make sure they made it to the new house. Fine, less for me to move. I hate packing and all of that. Once we moved into our home, Karen continued her strange behavior. She began secluding herself in her bedroom and would watch out of the window for my husband to return home from work and come out as soon as he opened the door. This is becoming like psychopathic behavior.
What?
Looking through the blinds.
Yeah, she's like, where is he? She's got those little, she's got binoculars.
Oh yeah, that peek through the blinds.
Yeah.
She's like,
and you just see
"Where's
the
he?"
binoculars through the blinds, just a little bit.
She's got night vision goggles even though it's the day.
Yeah.
Just like,
She's
where
like,
are
I
you?
can't see anything. And they're
I
like, those are
need-
night vision goggles. And she's like,
I need my son. Where did he go?
she's got a tracker on him.
Dude, this is not good, okay?
No.
She would tell him about her day, what she had done, what she planned to do. At this time, I had taken a week off work for Christmas, so I had to have been home all day with not a word from her to me. We held Christmas at our home with all of my family, and Karen was acting strange as per usual. She spent most of the day cleaning the porch, and then when everyone was done opening gifts, she went and got the gifts that she had purchased for everyone. She handed out to the gifts to my family and to my husband, all wrapped, and then she brought me the gifts she purchased for me unwrapped.
Wait, she just gave you gifts, but they weren't wrapped. So she put like effort into everyone else's gifts.
Exactly.
And then she was just like, yeah, here you go.
Yes, all these like wrapped, beautifully wrapped boxes. Oh, here you go, cousin. Here you go, granddaughter. Here you go, son. And here's a Walmart bag for you.
Yeah, she's like, I put yours in a Trader Joe's bag.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Husband needs to talk to his mom.
Yes. Why hasn't there been any? I mean, at least as far as we know, there haven't been any conversations between mother and son.
Hope he hasn't mentioned it. We're calling you out, husband. You think you're
Calling
getting
you
away
out.
with it? Huh? Not today.
Not on my watch.
Not on my watch. And guess what? I don't even have a watch.
Nor do I.
So now I didn't honestly care at that point, but it was clearly a dig at me for some reason. Her seclusion continued and she refused to speak to me, but would come out when my husband came home. She did not clean up after herself or her cats. One of her cats continuously peed on one of the steps leading into the basement. She never offered to clean it. I would have to do it at 6 a.m. when I woke up to find it or after working all day. A victor. Dude, just at this point,
Your fault. I blame you.
and yeah, like you had the perfect out, and you said, like, you
said
we would be keeping her with us indefinitely.
Indefinitely? You took back the boundary that you had made.
It just disappeared. She's never even been like, yeah, I made that, and I know I kind of like, we kind of didn't stick to it. We're not even
forgot about it.
Just forgot.
She's like, what? I had a boundary?
Dude.
I don't remember that.
Who's a bound dairy?
Bound dairy?
I'm allergic to dairy.
I don't know any boundaries.
I don't know about that. Finally, we talked. Finally.
Oh, Lord.
Let's see what this has got in store. And my husband and I agreed that we needed to address the situation. Okay.
Finally.
I'll be honest. Where are your hopes right now on a scale from 1 to 10?
They're on the floor.
We're at a -2.
Yeah.
Expectations.
We're beneath the floor, if you will.
I'm glad. Yeah, the floor that's been peed on by the cats every day.
Yeah. I've cut a hole in the floor and then put a little fireman's pole.
Right.
So it goes straight to the bottom.
This is sliding straight down. I'm at least glad that we're finally having the conversation. I'm curious what's going to come out of it. We talked to her. He asked her to move back to her house because not only was she being disrespectful to his wife, but she was making him uncomfortable. Her statement was, do you think it's hard for a person to let someone go? She was crying and she was acting like he was breaking up with her. She moved home a week later.
So she's finally out. I'll raise my expectations off the ground.
Are we to ground level now?
We're at least to ground level.
We're a bare minimum at ground level. We've slid up the fire
We've climbed it very slowly.
Here we go. She moved out a week later after several reminders that she needed to move home, that she was not going to be living here any longer. When she finally moved out, we felt guilty but relieved. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty. Throughout the time she's been gone, nothing has changed.
Nothing's changed. She's
Nothing's
gone.
changed.
She's
No,
gone,
nothing's
though.
changed.
Is she
No.
still like bringing her dog over to pee on your floors?
Every morning.
Like things have changed
She
a
just
little
walks
bit.
in with the cat.
Yeah,
Hey,
or the cat.
pee cat, and then
they're
runs
like,
away.
where did this pee come from? And she's like, wasn't me. I've been home like you told me to.
It wasn't me. Throughout the time she's been gone, nothing has changed. She's spoken only to me twice, once to help her set up her Wi-Fi and cable equipment, and another time because she needed help filing her taxes. She is still acting strange towards my grandfather. My grandfather had a simple eye surgery. She asked my grandmother how he was doing. The following day, my grandmother had a major surgery. Not a word from Karen. A few weeks later, my grandfather had the same surgery on his other eye. She immediately asked how he was doing. Oh, right. This is the grandpa that she had the hots for.
Oh, she's like, how's your eye doing?
Oh, how are you doing?
Do you need any help with your eye?
Is there something you would like to see to make you feel better,
Wink,
Grandpa?
wink.
Oh, God. My grandmother called me and said that she was done. She was blocking her from everything and said that Karen was no longer welcome there, and I understood. I then learned that she had been trash-talking me and saying I was unkind and hurt her with the way I treated her. That was it for me. I blocked her on social media, and that was that. So it's basically, it seems, AKA, we're going no contact with mother-in-law Karen.
Good.
Good, Annie, good.
Finally, I did not block her phone number on the off chance there was an emergency and she couldn't contact my husband. Okay. I am not cruel and cold-hearted, but a day ago, I got a text message asking me if I was home. I told her that I had been home all day as I'm working remote right now, but that we were getting ready to go out with a couple of friends. Her reply, have your husband call me before you go anywhere. It felt demanding.
Why are you the go-between?
Yeah.
Why can't she just text her own son?
Yeah. You birthed him.
Presumably you have his number.
Come on. There's no way you have OP's number and his
And not
wife's
your
number and not
son's.
your son's number. There's literally no way. So I responded and told her that if he was not answering her, that was his choice, and I didn't want to be in the middle of that. That I was all set with being accused of treating her a certain way that hurts her. By the way, you know what hurts me, Sophia?
What?
You know what causes a pain deep down in my heart that will never be fixed?
Tell me.
Is that people don't take the time to go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the iHeart Podcast app
Why not?
and search OK Storytime.
Why wouldn't they do that?
You know what's on the other end of that, Sophia?
What?
2,000 episodes
Dang.
of your favorite show with your favorite people.
Oh, man.
Why would they not do that, Sophia?
Why? Why would you deprive yourself?
I'm angry, but you can solve that by doing what I just told you.
Easy.
So check it out.
Easy.
But Sophia, we have a little bit of this story left, and I
Yeah.
have to ask you,
Ask.
what's going through your head right now?
Man, oh man. Well, one, we could have gotten rid of this lady way sooner.
Big
but
facts.
now that we have, you just gotta stick to your pew-pews,
Yes.
as they say in the biz.
Pew-pew.
Don't let her walk all over your boundaries that you just set.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure that your husband is actually pulling his weight.
That's the
because
one thing we haven't addressed at all.
You can't be the go-between for your mother-in-law every time just because he's afraid of talking.
Yep. I guess he did finally have this. Dredo4 says mother-in-law needs to be laid, and Riley is heavily highliling that and telling me to read it.
Just maybe. Just maybe.
Maybe we need to get her a gilf.
Her own grandfather.
A grandpa she would like to friend.
Yes, as they say in the biz.
That's what they say in the biz. But let's get into the finale of this
Let's
particular
bring her
story.
home.
I explained there was a reason I had removed her from my social media and cut contact, and that whenever she needed to talk to him about was between the two of them. I said I was not going to be her messenger. She replied, "I'm sorry," to which I replied, "You're not though," which is why I removed myself from the situation. I did nothing but try to help you and was treated poorly in return. You burned the bridge, and that was your choice. My standing up for you or talking to him for you isn't an option anymore. And then I was trash talked afterwards. I got no reply. This is the energy.
Yeah, this is energy we should have had ages.
Yeah.
Ages ago.
Tell her in simple, clear terms what she did.
What for? We don't need to be like, she shows up in her little white shorts. You don't have to go, oh, it's nice. Tell her. Say, hey, that doesn't work for the wedding.
That's not it.
That's not proper wedding attire.
Riley.
No, you can't live in my house indefinitely.
Riley is highlighting some crazy comments over here.
Crazy stuff.
Oh, goodness. And I knew he was going to click that one, too. I knew he was going to click that one. So she never got the counseling we told her she needed, and she only contacts me when she needs something. So am I the a-hole? Let's close it out by answering the question. Sophia, is OP the a-hole? No. Actually, you know what?
Self a-hole?
Might be an a-hole to the self.
Self a-hole. Check. You gotta get your mom-in-law.
Mother-in-law.
Your mim-law.
Your mim-law.
Out.
Yeah, get her out of here. Get her out of here.
Yeah.
But, so, ladies and gentlemen, that is unfortunately the end. But
It's true.
if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.